Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Monstrosities. I'm your host, Matt. And tonight is a special live stream where we are once again joined by a special guest who I will bring in just one moment. First, I just want to say we just have a new patron, and that is Ryan Santa Cruz, who has just donated $5 to become part of Vulture Squadron. Thank you very much, Ryan. Your donation means a ton and goes to the creation of content for this channel, as well as the upkeep as well. So, and then on occasion, I spend some money to bring this guy on just to be like, here's $50, and then he'll
He's really
up.
expensive, right?
Yeah, he'll show up and do his greatest hits thing.
I work for figures, so
What's up, man? How you doing?
Send me your unused Bondis, but pre-2000 Bondis, because Bondis have really gotten pretty lame-o, smaller. I don't know.
And it's really true. It's really true. Just real quick, we got RJ Godzilla in the chat. We got Paul Tackett, who's in the chat. Nerd Cage Live, what is up, my friend? Hope you're doing well. My friend Derek, bonus commentary. And also from your neck of the woods, you might recognize this guy, Tokyo Toy Bastard.
Yeah, I think I know that guy from somewhere. But
yeah,
we actually hung out yesterday, and we had a fantastic time doing stuff. And I'm glad he could make it. So yeah, thank you.
It's super cool. Acno Goji, Childish Landino, Executor Dragon, Isabella, what is up? Deanie Weenie, hope you guys are doing good, as well as Riley Roberts and T-Zilla. So thank you for
Wait, is that my name on there? I didn't know my name would appear.
What?
I wrote my name all like weird, so there isn't any way I can fix that. I guess.
Yeah, there's plenty of ways.
I thought that was like on our anyway. So
here, I'll switch it for you. There you go.
It's like magic. How did that happen? But anyway, I sorry I canceled twice before, so I just been.
Well, I didn't have the money to pay you at the time.
I know.
Or the Bondi figures
to clear. But I've just been kind of busy with work and new clients. I started doing stuff for NHK. I don't know if you know NHK. That's like the BBC or the PBS of Japan.
I just found out today? They actually have like a very extensive free archive. You can go back and watch news stories like all the way back to like the 1920s.
Really?
On their site. Yeah, it's really cool. I was looking up some stuff for a video I'm working on right now. So there were some pretty neat things on there. So yeah, I know who NHK is.
So I guess like the stuff I'm subtitling and I've been doing narration scripts and then going into the studio and then overseeing the narration recording. That it's really interesting. It's fun. I haven't done narration stuff before. I mean, I'm not doing the narration. This woman, man, her voice was so beautiful. It was really it was really good. And the good thing about narration is once the narration's done, it's done. When I do subtitles, they sometimes are like, well, I don't know, is this right? You think we could change this? So like I'm doing a new one for them right now. I had that deadline last week, and it's like 80% is narration, where the other one I did before for them was like 40% narration.
Gotcha.
And then they just kept on changing things, and is this okay? Is there another way? Blah 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 blah. And that's fine. It's part of like the subtitling job. I mean, if you think that you're going to give them your subtitles and then they're going to write back, thanks, see ya. It's always a process, of,
right.
I mean, anyway, people have to justify their jobs. But anyway, so yeah, it's like, but this one's got a lot of narration, so I think it's going to be like 2 days in the studio taking care of that. But yeah, I got that script in, and so I can like hang out with my my buddies, enjoy Tokyo. The weather's been really nice recently, and what else has been going on? Well, I was recently at Tokyo Comic-Con. They got that going.
Oh yeah. Couple months ago, right?
And yeah, that was fun. It's a little long. Usually events in Japan, as you know, it's kind of weird. Like the US, it's always like, events will start Friday and then Sunday night, but in Japan, it's generally like they'll start at 10 a.m. and then end at 5 p.m. on that day, like Superfest or Wonderfest, they do that. And even still, it's like it starts at 10 a.m. and then by 3 p.m., people are going home. And it's like, I'm always like, man, but now, and Tokyo Comic Con actually does it the US way, where it's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And this is like me and my wife, Miyako, who's a manga artist. We got there like Thursday to set up, so it was like we were like there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. By Sunday, it's like ready to like drop off the face of the earth, But I mean, it was a lot of fun. There's like,
that's awesome.
I mean, it's still not as big as it was the pre-COVID thing, but a lot of like Yagi from Tsubaraya was there, Matt Frank was there, Shimizu, who directed The Grudge, was there.
That's cool.
And if anyone out there has read my book, my Behind the Kaiju Curtain book,
nobody's read your book.
The infamous Kobayashi, who was the PR producer of the Gamera series at Daya, what it was Daya at the time, and now he's a big producer at Kadokawa for films, and now Kadokawa's calling themselves Kadokawa Diet, so they've returned the Diet. Like when Kadokawa, which is a big publishing company, like Diet Studios went bankrupt, I guess shortly after the Gamera series,
Super Monsters, sometime in the 80s.
Kadokawa, which is one of the biggest publishers in Japan, they bought it and they changed it to Kadokawa right away. And I guess though they've kept, now it's kind of like nostalgia is a huge thing for anywhere in the world. So they're like, oh, name value on the Daya name. So now they recently made it Kadokawa Daya for their film division.
That's awesome.
So anyway, Kobayashi, he's a very nice guy. We had a little to do at Kyoto Station, but no,
you didn't take anybody's lunch, did you?
I didn't take anyone's lunch. No, we patched things up, and he's a very intelligent guy. He was very helpful. He helped me get the Gamera 3 photo on the cover of my
That's awesome.
Behind the Kaiju Curtain book. So it was like he came by. He's known my wife for He's known my wife for a long time, even before I met her, which she finds kind of humorous. The two of us are like, a couple. But no, he's a nice guy, and he produced Shimizu's new horror movie.
Oh, cool.
Which I unfortunately can't remember the title of at the moment. So yeah, it was fun doing that, and just other things. I mean, I haven't been on your channel since maybe the first time this year, I guess.
Yeah, this is the first time this year. I mean, we were trying to do January, but like, it's been just a really crazy past couple of months for both of us. So It is what it is. Executor, thank you for the $5. He thinks that you have more books than I do. And then
thank you very much, Paul. Except Matt's got, and I haven't given him a hard time, he's got that Godzilla FAQ book over there, which is one of the most ridiculous books. The book is literally Wikipedia printed out.
There's actually, I think I might have actually gotten rid of it.
It says it right there. It's like Godzilla FAQ in huge white letters. I know,
it's the Brian Solomon book. This is the freaking Wikipedia book, right?
Oh, it is. I'm sorry. That my mistake.
One,
but that's the Wikipedia one, right?
Yes,
right.
Yes. No, the Brian Solomon book is actually pretty good.
No, I didn't mean that. Then I apologize to Brian. I didn't mean that one. Sorry, that was, confusion time.
A crowd
early morning Sunday in Japan. Not that early, but yeah, the Godzilla Encyclopedia, which isn't that the one that's like the crowd-funded thing?
That's what I just pointed. Yes, a crowdsourced guide. It's not even. It's literally just from Wikipedia. I mean, it's everything. They just copied and pasted the whole thing.
Well, now that my Kaiju Curtain book is out, and some of that information is starting to find its way into Wikipedia, and if they do a new version, do I get money for that?
Well, maybe, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Amazon will get the biggest chunk of that, so. But anyway, we were going to talk, like Matt was in Japan months ago, and that was what our theme today was going to be. And did you have a good time when you were out here?
No, because I
Young
saw
Matthew.
you. I saw you the first night I got there. I saw you, and I pretty much saw you every day thereafter. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, you know? Yeah, no, it was a great time. I had a wonderful time. It was, unfortunately, my Paige couldn't come, but it was really fun to be able to finally get back out there after X amount of years. I mean, anybody who kind of knows who has come to some of these live streams lately knows I'm going through a lot of personal stuff right now. So being able to get out there was a really nice, just get like reset. I got to hang out with you. We got to do a lot of really cool stuff. Got to laugh it up and experience some neat things, and can't wait to go back.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you again when you get out here. Yeah, so we as things go these days, we took a bunch of photos and thought we'd like kind of me and Matt would reminisce about what was one of the first things we did was the Godzilla Fest.
Yeah, it was like the day prior to me getting there. I'm getting over the Godzilla Fest stuff. I'm not trying to be all negative or whatever, but like it's just kind of like the same thing all the time. It was cool going with you and stuff and hanging out with Kyle, but man, it was just like it's just like you could spend like a couple of hours there and just be done. The fact that like the Yamazaki Godzilla film got such little fanfare there was just like ridiculous. And it was like, oh, let's see the new tokusatsu fan film that Wakasa did, And it's just like, okay,
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's really changed over the years. Like, for example, this whole November 3rd thing,
yeah.
when you go back, like say going back to, Toho never really made a big deal about November 3rd, November 3rd. It's got to be on November 3rd. That's kind of
Riley wanted to ask you a couple questions. It wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, eventually. Thank you, Riley. But anyway, now that's become like a real thing. It's got to be like on November 3rd. Because it used to be like if you go to Tokyo International Film Festival, I think like Godzilla 2000 was premiered on the 6th. I don't think any of them premiered on the 3rd. Now it's like Yamazaki's film is going to open on the 3rd, type of thing. I don't even remember. Yeah, and then even like traditionally Godzilla movies open. Well, I mean, since the Heisei time and
like
onward, they would open
right?
up in December. So they would open like around December 15th or something like that. So now they're really trying to monopolize on that November 3rd date, which is fine. I don't know. I mean, I have a good time going to these things. I mean, this year was like really crowded, packed.
Oh yeah. I
mean, it always is, but they shifted over because you're over in Yurakucho, and that's where that Godzilla statue is, and they replaced the good statue with this Shin Godzilla statue. But that's where they usually have it, in that big space, over in that area. And that area has really changed over the years. Like I was showing you or pointing out to you that
I fucking remember the first time we went over there. It was a bunch of construction at the time. Like they hadn't even put up all that stuff there. But I remember in 2017, you showing me like, oh yeah, Toho owns all these buildings and blah blah blah. So yeah, even just in the past 5-6 years, very much.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they used to have like cars would go through the street. Now that I think the cars are gone, and then the old Toho like office buildings were at the end of the block, and now they've moved over to this new building. That building over there is like completely gone now.
Yeah.
So that whole area, and then I mean, it's just I mean, Japan, they tear down stuff and rebuild stuff like all the time. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, then they moved it to a new space, which is kind of like there's like a main road, and you can see that road in Godzilla, Return of Godzilla. When Godzilla's coming down the thing and he picks up the Shinkansen, and in the Japanese version, there's a reflection of him, in a very cool shot. And that right there. So let's say I'm Godzilla coming this way, then that means it used to be on this side, and then they moved Godzilla Fest to the other side of the street in this kind of like open space area. It was more longish rather than this kind of like open area, like before. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was fine with it. I mean, sure, it is what it is, and yeah, but there were just a lot of people, and so it was like really tough the way they had the stage set up. It was like you either like get there early and never leave your seat, or you're not going to see anything, because they had a stage set up and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I didn't really, I've gone to so many of these things. I don't need to be in the front and stuff like that. And
yeah, you were hanging in the back with all the freaking Toho execs, which is true.
No, I mean, it was good because I could see a lot of my buddies from the Millennium series, who still work at Toho and stuff.
Yeah.
And one of my friends who was like the line producer on a lot of the Millennium series, I got the guy's card somewhere. That guy who's like the big Godzilla guy.
Yeah, the head of
yeah. And
his name escapes me.
He introduced like the Tokyo SOS screening or something like that, like in the US when they had a clip of him or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to meet that guy, and we met. I got photos we'll jump into in a moment, but Wakasa was there, so it was good to see him. The only person I didn't bump into that I wanted to was Thunder. He's in my book. He's one of the he was part of Mike's staff on the art staff on the Millennium series. Very cool guy, very enthusiastic guy, and I was really happy to learn he was the guy that did the art direction on this Gigon film.
Yeah.
And he was there, but it was just, oh, you just missed Thunder. I was like, I want to see I mean, I saw him a couple of years ago, and also in my book, Junko Kawashima, who was the script person, the continuity person on these films. She passed away kind of suddenly by cancer, unfortunately. I mean, she was one of my favorite people on the staff. And
that was only a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, her last job, I think, was really working on Shin Godzilla. And I spoke to Higuchi at her funeral, and he said that, she was already, she wasn't really letting people know, but that she was ill, but she did as much work as she could and then had to like drop out. I mean, the last time I really saw her working vibrant was on Attack on Titan. I was over at Toho.
Yeah.
And I was watching them shoot, and June was like, "Oh, Norman, come over here, check it out, do this, blah, 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 blah." And she, very, very, I'm really, that's a little sad point in my life is that I didn't get my book out, before.
She's a big part of it too. I mean,
she's a big part of my book. So that's when I saw Thunder the last time. Was I hadn't seen him since like the Millennium series wrapped, since like Final Wars, and then it's like, oh, how you doing? And and there's not a lot of work anymore for the these art people, these miniature people, because movies like Shin Godzilla or whatever, I mean, they're just going the CG route, and it's really kind of sad, that I don't want to get into that, but I mean, unfortunately, there isn't really a lot of work. So, what do you. But anyway, so I mean, at least that film, they kind of went the old school, the old school route. So, and I was really glad, that that Thunder was the guy that took over from, like, usually it would be Mike or other people in the past,
right?
Showa was always like Yasuyuki Inoue and stuff like that. So. So yeah, I mean, that was, that was good. So the Godzilla Fest was kind of fun it's always like good at those events. Like Wonderfest is coming up. I don't think I'm going to go this year, but Wonderfest is another good way to see people, in this business.
Right.
Especially a lot of the people that work on the effect sides of kaiju films. They're also like kind of figure collectors themselves, and a lot of the people themselves, a lot of the art people make figures, So you go to Wonderfest and they'll be selling stuff they've made. You know, they'll get 1-day licenses or whatever like that. So and they're just like regular dealers at those things, but they're also
Yeah,
guys that worked on Godzilla films like that, you know.
that's super cool.
And usually, like, the fans don't know that because they only know the director, you know, or they only know, you know, the cast or something like that. So anyway, so why don't we get into our photos, because we're going to talk about this
Real
again,
quick.
you know? So
Right. We just had we're gonna deviate just for a second because we had a $20 super chat.
oh, really?
And executor was just asking about Miyako, just what manga is she working on? She has one coming out real soon out here in the States, her first one.
Yeah, should be out like any day now. It's a company called Starfruit, and what's the title of it again? I'm unprepared. No, it's really wonderful, and the translation is very good. Very
Wonder
good.
House of Horrors, right?
That's it, Wonder House of Horrors. You don't have a photo of it there, do you?
I do. Hold on one second. Let me bring it up. It's actually it's not super high res, but it's a really nice. Hold
I'm
on.
drinking coffee here.
Here we go. Take that off real quick.
Oh, that's actually the Japanese cover.
Oh, is that the Japanese cover? Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
I mean, they just took out the Japanese and they replaced it with Wonder House of Horrors. So that's fine. I mean, but anyway, she's got this kind of creep show thing going on the cover of that.
Yeah,
so,
no,
we were at Tom Savini's place in 2018, and we gave him a copy of that, and he was just like kind of cracking up, you know. It's just like, thank you very much. There you go.
Thanks, Andres.
Well, that is Andres. Yeah, hey man.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Yeah. So anyway, no, the translation was done by this man, American man living in Osaka, Dan. I can't remember his last name. Sorry, Dan. Very, very cool guy. Very serious guy. He did a really good job translating it, because, you know, one of the things, especially with manga, especially with like Miyako's manga, there's a lot of cultural references going on, and a lot of Miyako's manga. It's not like, it isn't, say, like Ito Junji, where it's really like horrific, or even like Umezu Kazuo, where it's really gets horrific. It's a lot of she calls it gag horror, you know. So it's a lot of wordplay and cultural things going on. So I did a kind of check on the translation, and I'm, as a translator myself, I don't really like get into the nitpicking. You know, you got to respect someone else's work like that.
Right.
And I gave a couple little things like, well, if I had done it, I might have done it this way, type of thing. You know, it's up to you. Suggestions, not like, you know, because sometimes you get people who are checkers, and it's like, this is how it should be, and it's like, really, we're talking apples and oranges here, you know.
Right.
So no, I mean, he did a really good job, and the people at Starfruit are really nice, and they've been very easy to work with, and they're very passionate. It's not a big company, you know. But anyway, yeah. So thanks for asking. That's coming out. I hope it comes out. Looking forward to it. I mean, we're going to go to Osaka Comic-Con. They're doing the Tokyo Comic-Con is going to do Osaka things, so we're going to go there, and hopefully that's in a couple months. I'm sure it'll be out by then, so I should ask her. Anyway, hi. sorry.
It's great.
So yeah, why don't we go to these?
Yeah, sure away.
Whenever you're ready. Oh, I have to share my screen?
Yes, you have to give me a present, remember?
Oh yeah, the present. Hold on a second. Share screen. Window.
Jim says that cover has a great 50s EC horror comics vibe to it. I don't know what EC horror is.
I can no longer be your friend. You don't know what EC comics are?
I thought we've already established that you're only here because I either pay you or because you have to do charity work, you know. So like,
okay, well, I mean,
what's enlightened
Tales from the Crypt
Okay,
for God's
you
sake.
didn't say Tales from the Crypt.
No, that's a title of EC Comics,
Okay.
Entertainment Comics. And then that was the whole Comic Code Authority got created to kind of rein these people in. And then it put all their horror comics and war comics and science fiction comics pretty much out of business. And their one thing that they had going on was Mad Magazine. So from the end of the 50s until, actually, I mean, Mad is still around, but it was like a big social force in the 60s and the 70s. William Gaines, the publisher and editor of, it started out as a thing called educational comics his dad found, and it was all like religious stories and stuff. And his dad died, I think, in a boating accident. He inherited the company, and he just turned it into like the most incredible comic still in history, the best artists, and really good storytelling and morally on the right side of things. It was good stuff, but it just freaked out, the adults, so, but anyway, that's EC Comics.
I also want to point out that everyone who's getting mad at me is substantially older than I am, so I'm gonna say my
Creep Show, Romero's Creep Show is like Stephen King and Romero's like tribute to the EC comic.
That makes sense.
So anyway, let's get into our little Godzilla Fest stuff. So this was kind of like, and these buildings on the left and right, they're also very recent buildings. So you walk into the place and there it says Gojira Fesu 2022. Oh, it's already 2023. And then there was like that Godzilla suit in there and some of the miniatures. And those are real miniatures from Toho. I mean, screen used, isn't that what they say? So then they had this like layout with the DCBA.
We were having
like ABCD,
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's got here it says the main stage, and then there's the diorama area here, and some other area I can't read that kanji. Another booth I can't read, and a gojiban over here. And then just with like the schedule for the day.
Right.
And then here is this. It's probably, what is it like? It's supposed to be like Biolante or is that?
I don't know. And I wanted to ask you that because I've seen that thing a couple of times over the past 5-6 years.
Right.
Is that just a promo suit? I mean, they
I'm sure it's an event suit. There I don't believe there are no Heisei suits left over.
Yeah,
I was talking to Ed Godachevsky. I think he gave me the lowdown, but my old man brain, I forgot. So, and then but I did ask Ed. Yeah, those Maser tanks are like toys that had come out like a little while back. So that's those Masers in the front. So anyway, that's
they lit up and everything too. It was kind of neat.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So and then here, and you could take your photo with it, and there was like a line. Me and Matt were like, we're too cool for the line, so we didn't. We just stood around and looked. And then in one of these booths, they were selling stuff like this. They had, so this is like the art for this year, was this thing. So they got T-shirts here, and then they have the clear file, and then the handbag, and then a pin badge. Look at that, 440 yen, man. Then some chirashi. Yeah, there was some event with Megumi Odaka was at. So, and here's just more of like I had various booth sets up around the place. Then they had the thing for the Owaji, the Owaji thing swinging into Shin Godzilla's mouth.
I know you disagreed with me last time I brought this up when we were there, but I still think this was smaller than the 2019 event. I thought the 2019 event was more fun, honestly.
Yeah,
stuff going on.
I just think it was just laid out differently. I mean, I don't know. And also, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was a little smaller, but it was like the other one was spread out, and they had that bigger stage.
Yeah. The stage was the stage this year or last year was really strange.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like the other one, it accommodated more people. you know, like when they had like Kaneko was on stage and
Yeah.
Okawada, and was Omori there?
Omori was there, huh?
Yeah, Omori was there, and
Tezuka.
Tezuka, right? So they had all the like the living Godzilla directors up there, except for Ano, who doesn't come out to these things.
He's too
But
cool for school.
yeah, well,
Too busy at home playing with his Ultraman action figures.
And then they had, well, this is on the back. I think you see it. Yeah, they had these Godzilla posters. Like, was like, okay, what do we got to do? Oh, we'll put up some posters. Okay. So they had these posters there, and you know, so yeah, I think also, you know, with, I don't know, maybe, you know, COVID also, you know, they're trying to keep the crowd smaller. I mean, who knows? Then they had this one room which was like props and stuff, you know, so anyway, so we go in. This is a script for Godzilla 84, and I believe that's Omori's signature on it, but I might be wrong.
I think that's Nakano's signature, actually.
Oh, is it? I mean, I can't.
No, not by the signature.
Maybe at the top. Maybe that is a Naka, you know. But I mean, it's too. I can't read that.
Just because he did the special effects for 84.
Right. Oh, that's right. Omori. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? He wasn't there till like Violante.
Yeah.
So, and then they pulled out the Gigon. The only thing that's left of the original Gigon suit. I've got photos of this, you know, back in the Millennium time. You know, in Toho had all these. They kept all this stuff at the studio in Seijugaku and Mayan, and this is just like on the wall. So I got a couple. Oh, check it out! Yeah, it's Gigon's thing is like on the wall. You'd see it like every other day, you know, when I was over there. And now they pull this thing out, and it's got some like it's gear stuff on the bottom there, which is kind of cool. You can see
it really was
stuff there, but and then these are Godzilla versus Mothra and the Final Wars script. So they had a bunch of scripts here.
This was like a little like thing for Takarada, wasn't it? Like this was a little.
Yeah, they had a thing. Yeah, I have a photo of that. Oh, and this is it. Look, this is the Godzilla Final Wars script. And look, you see, I when they were shooting the film, I was at Toho and going.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even
all this.
Like, oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
I'm the one that told. Like, I'm like, what the hell? You know, like, and there it is. Yeah, I haven't seen the script since like that was like 2004. You know, but yeah, I saw that, like, you know, because like, you know, I'm American, my eye gravitates towards English, you know. But yeah, that script was like had a lot of English bad words in it.
What a great page to open up for a family friendly.
Yeah, I know, right? And here's some of the this is the what is this? This is Ebira. This is
oh yeah,
Sea Monster, and this is what the hell? I'm spacing out. Mothra versus Godzilla. Then the original Gojira 1954 script, and then we had Mechagodzilla head. They bring this out a lot, but I think this is Ed was telling me Ed's better at like minute.
It doesn't even look like the Mechagodzilla head. Like it just there's something really off about it.
Yeah, that's what Ed was telling me, and this was months ago, and I forgot, but there was something not quite right about this suit. This piece right here.
They had that thing displayed in the Godzilla store in 2018 when City on the Edge of Battle came out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, right. Oh, sorry, Gigan again. Oh, and then they had the 84 head.
That was really cool.
You know, this is always fun to see.
And you've seen all these before. Like, there's nothing new, right?
Huh?
There's nothing new like in this like little collection. Like you've seen.
No, there's nothing before, right? Well, other than like this little tribute to Takarada, you know, set up here. So it's always. I mean, it's kind of. Yeah, he was. You know, there's a lot of people in the U.S. knew Takarada. I mean, he was a very charming man, very, you know, real gentleman. yeah, he was a good guy, and it's just nobody lives forever. But yeah, it was kind of sad that he passed on. But he I think he lived a nice long life, and he's in my movie Bringing Godzilla Down to Size. It was just wonderful to work with, full of stories, enthusiastic. And every time I'd see him, he was very embracing and vigorously shaking my hand and looks you right in the eye and gives you his undivided attention. I mean, yeah, a lot of fans in the US have had experience with him at various events, and that's kind of everyone's had nothing but good to say about
I,
him. So
I always enjoyed that story that you told where and I don't remember what it was at, but he was like surrounded by people, his team or whatnot, and you said hello from afar, and he specifically deviated his course, like wherever he was going, to come over to talk to you.
oh yeah, I went. It was after maybe King of the Monsters had opened up, and I was over in Shinjuku.
Yeah.
And I was working at a Starbucks, and then I went and they had like a red carpet thing, and I just missed it for King of the Monsters. And then so I was by the Gracery, by the thing there, and then Takarada walks by. He's got this like entourage around me, and I'm like, "Yo, Takarada, how you doing?" He just sees me, stops, comes over. "How you doing?" Shaking my hand, and the people around him were all like, "We got to get going," like. But he just didn't care, about. They were all impatient, to get wherever they were going. So I kept it brief and whatever, just to say hi, good to see you. And that's the last time I saw him.
I like that story a lot. It very much seems to be very much the person.
Yeah, how he was. He always took the time for people.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
So cool.
And then bacon. We have bacon alert.
How many? Do you remember the like count on your tweet?
Yeah, no, I put this up like, and people, I don't get the bacon thing, but people get excited over him. So I put this up on Twitter, and yeah, it was kind of funny, the reaction, the amount of reactions that this thing generated. But there you go. Okay, and this is like how the stage was. Like, I mean, and it was really like
it was too small, man. I don't know what
Yeah.
they were thinking with that screen. Like you
Yeah.
just couldn't see anything.
Yeah,
They
and
didn't
the
have
way
much of
that
a speaker system either,
the way the bars are, on the stand in the front, it's hard to see. And I keep forgetting this guy's name. The guy who's the MC. He's in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think he's in like a lot of the Millennium films, because he's like a big newscaster in Japan, TV guy, but he really likes Godzilla, so he always come to the set. I've been to parties with this guy in the past, I mean, during the Millennium time, when we have little staff things, and he's really always a big promoter of Godzilla, and his name is like slipping my mind right. Remember I asked that guy the same thing, and I was like, what the hell is this guy's name? And like, right on the tip of my tongue right now. And then as soon as I hear it, it's like, oh yeah, right. I'm really bad with names. But anyway, we hung out here. Yeah, I bumped into a couple of my friends, Godzilla pals here, and we were talking for a while.
You actually hung around at the spot for most of the day, because like by the time the final film, the Gigan short film came up, like we were all hanging around that little spherical rock
thing, like granite thing right there.
Yeah.
Oh, and then these are the Gojiban things, which are kind of, I guess, I don't know why this one's here anyway. Yeah, and this is like on the side. Wakasa was up there talking about, I guess, the Gigan thing, and then we bumped into Wakasa, and then he's like showing what he would do if he had a knife to Matt's shoulder right there.
Norman actually did stick me with a knife. He shivved me a couple of times, but I did somehow survive.
So, I talked to Wakasa for a little while. It's always good to see him, and then our mandatory photos together. So, yeah, so that, and then we walked over. That's why we went over to that like Godzilla pop-up store. So we had to do the
that's right, yeah.
Take this photo of this ridiculous statue, and then we went in, and then they had this like up in the department store there, they had this little section with all these photos like this.
Who was that? Do you remember who that was dedicated to? There was a specific staff person, but I cannot recall who it was.
Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, they had this like stuff like this all set up. And I guess well it says tokusatsu no DNA, so I guess this is part of M1's collection or his stuff
Or
because
something, yeah. I mean, there's no props on display. It was just a bunch of the cardboard photos. It was cool,
photos like this. Yeah, no, it's fun to walk through. And then they had that Beatles stuff
That
going
Beatles
on.
thing was the greatest, man. That Beatles thing was the greatest. We
Yeah,
hung
and
out
we
there
went over
more than
there,
we did at the Godzilla thing.
they had those two guys that were pretty good singing Beatles songs.
Yeah, they were
So
really
we were
good.
listening to some of that, and there was a bunch of Beatle fans, and they had a lot of photos I'd never seen of like the Beatles in Japan, back in the 60s and stuff. So that was kind of fun. A little like, oh, okay. But yeah, then they had here, yeah, this you had to take because of COVID, you had to take numbers to get into the store. Not this
That's
area, but next
yeah.
to it was the store. I don't have any photos of the store. It's just, the usual stuff you can find at like the Godzilla store in Shinjuku or the one in Osaka stuff. But yeah, I think maybe I picked up another shot glass or something like
You
that.
picked up a couple of stickers, and I think you got the
Oh,
shot
that's
glass.
right. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got this.
Yeah, do you even know what that's from?
Yeah, I know what it's from. It's from the Singular Point.
Okay. Yes.
And like a couple weeks ago, I was hanging out with Takahashi,
Takahashi.
the
Yeah.
director of this Godzilla Singular Point, and I was like, "Yeah, I picked up a sticker from the thing," and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Isn't it? There's like what's her name, May, the
Yeah.
character? She's got this suitcase, and isn't that what this is like a sticker on her suitcase?"
Yes.
Yeah, and I said that. He goes to me, they made a product out of that. He was just sort of like, no clue, but he just sort of was like, what, and oh, you know what? And I hadn't seen him since COVID because we used to hang out a lot before COVID, and we've been boating together, and yeah, very nice guy. And then one of the things I liked about Singular Point was the ending. I don't think I told you, the graphics on the ending title, it's really like, I just like it's very nicely done. And there's
Very
a
nice.
lot of a lot of Easter egg stuff, but I thought it was more like memory stuff rather than Easter egg stuff. And there's a lot of Millennium stuff in there, characters and, people
Right.
I know, cast members I know. And I really, it always, when I see it, brings back kind of a warm feeling. And I told him that, and he's like, oh, yeah, one of my staff did that. I have no idea what's going on in any of those images because he's not really like a Godzilla fan, but I was really complimenting on. He's like, "Oh, thanks. Yeah, one of my staff guys did that. I have no idea what's going on." But anyway, yeah, this is what I picked up. Yeah, I just picked this up, and I wanted to stick it on my new Surface computer, but it's too. It doesn't fit the way I want it to fit, so it's
Oh,
still in the
gotcha.
package. Anyway, back at Godzilla Fest.
Oh, yeah, they brought out the Gigan soup at that
They
point.
brought up the Gigan suit, and it was really crowded around it, so it was really hard to take a decent photo.
Did you like the Gigan suit? I don't remember. I think you might have said something, but I don't remember if you were
Yeah, I
like,
think it's fine. I mean,
yeah.
I think it looks good. Wakas is very good at what he does. You know, yeah, I think the suit's good. Then these Goji Bond things. That is what I had. Spiga. Does anyone call him Spiga anymore?
No, it's always Kumanga.
Yeah. Gimantis. So yeah, and then here was I took this shot just when Gigan was going on, so we were like over in the back like that. It was fine. It was fun to watch, and then some Goji Bon, more
Maybe
stuff.
I should have given you more pictures because I actually took more pictures than you did at this thing. I was all like, "Oh, I'm not going to give you anything," but
This
no,
is enough, I
no,
mean,
no, it is. No, I'm not saying it's not enough. I'm just saying anyways, continue.
Okay, and that's all my Godzilla Fest photos. There you go. And we're back again. Now I can see the screen. And there it is. There it is. What does STG mean?
I don't know. Stegosaurus or something.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
But anyway, I want to fit this on my Surface on the thing.
Why can't you fit it on your Surface? Like
Because it covers up the Microsoft Windows
Well,
thing, and
why do you want the Windows?
because I don't want people to think I bought some sort of like Korean knockoff computer. Like I got the real deal going here. I'm very brand oriented. You should know that about me.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I like that a lot. Some Korean knockoff.
So let's go. And then our other cool thing, another cool thing that we
did a lot of cool things there. Honestly, like not to, I know you hate it when I start gushing about how much I enjoy you as a person and our friendship and whatnot, but I had a fantastic time. Honestly, it's probably the best time I've had with you out there. I mean, we just did all sorts of fun shit, you know, and Godzilla Day was so cool just because it was just like, you know, I had missed doing that for years by that point, and just go and hang out and, you know, go to these little nerdy places.
And then didn't we go out with
Kyle?
We went with Kaneko that night.
Oh yeah, that's right. And yeah,
we met up with Bill Gudmundsson, and his wife was in Japan, and Bill knows Shusuke from Chicago things, and you know, here. So we all went out Shinjuku.
What was Bill's wife?
It was so hard to find a place to go to, and we found some izakaya thing. We had a good time,
dude. You know? The one thing I will always remember about that night is you taking off like a bat out of hell, and I lost you. You know, I don't know if you remember that, but you're like, we're gonna run late, and you just like disappeared. You like hit hyperdrive, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, whatever.
What was Bill's wife's name again?
Gary.
Gary, yeah. That was a really fun night.
Yeah, I think I have a photo later from that night. I can show that. But why don't we then we went up to, we decided we were going to go to Osaka, and then that fell through. And I'm still pissed about this stupid hotel that wouldn't. Anyway, I don't want to get into it because I'll get upset. I want to burn that hotel down the next time I go.
Yeah,
friggin' bastards. I mean, they like, I made a mistake in booking the night, and I accidentally had December selected on their stupid calendar.
That's right.
And I called them like right away to say, no, I'm sorry, I made a mistake with the calendar. I just want to switch it to, do you have rooms available? Sure, we do. And they charged me like, well, you have to cancel that reservation. I canceled that reservation over a month in advance, and they took 50% cancellation fee. That's ridiculous. I mean, 50% is like 3 days prior or the night before cancellation fee.
Right.
You know, I mean, that was ridiculous.
It was. And
I mean, it was my fault. And I was like, can't I just change the date? No.
Yeah, well, you made it simple, but see, the thing is, it really wasn't your fault because it's such a simple mistake to make. You know what I mean? It's not like,
well, but it's still, you know, it was my fault, but they were really not understand. I even called them on the phone, which cost me more because I don't use my phone for calls, so I've got it set up as, you know what I mean, like calls add money to my bill. I never use the phone. No, who uses the phone anymore? You know, so. Especially in Japan, calling people, maybe it's the same in the US, but calling is like, why are they calling me? Why aren't they writing me? Type of thing, you know, unless it's like an emergency type of thing. But anyway, you know, that still like annoys me. So then, well, we got to do something. So we decided to go up to Sukagawa, which is where Eiji Tsuburaya was born, and when they've got this Eiji Tsuburaya museum. And I hadn't been there before, and it's always like fun to get in the Shinkansen.
Oh man, it was a blast.
Right up. The weather was completely perfect. So why don't we go through some of those? Yeah, that was a really spectacular day. So let me find my present and share the screens. And the first one is, we see on the train, a very happy Matt. This is actually out of order because this is over there.
That's right. Yeah.
We took the Shinkansen, and then you have to get off, and then you have to take one of these local lines up to the place. It's really out in the boondocks. You
Back
know,
when I knew how to smile, you know.
when you're gonna start making me sad, Matt. So
No,
stop. Anyway, we get to Sukagawa, so we get to Sukagawa, and then right at the station, there goes the train. The trains are like every 20 minutes. I mean, in the middle of nowhere. And they got
station
all
great.
stuff like this set up because like Subaraya is their claim to fame.
How long did it take us to get out there again? Was it like 2 hours, 2.5 hours?
A little over 2 hours, something like that.
It's a nice train ride up there. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful countryside.
So they've got all this stuff. It's all Ultramanned out over there, and I was cracking up at just like how local this train station is. I mean,
I saw a tweet.
Get the paint, strip that
yeah.
paint off and get that thing painted up and stuff. And then because they do this in a lot of the like countrysides, they'll have one exit,
Right.
one exit. And when you're on the opposite side, you got to walk over the tracks. So anyway,
there's a Twitter account. It's Sukagawa, and they just show pictures. But the other day, they actually had a picture of that train station, and somebody who lives in Sukagawa was like, "This is so embarrassing. Why don't they just modernize it?" And
I find it kind of quaint.
Yeah, so do I. So do I.
I mean, one of the fun things when you live in Japan for a while, and then you figure out what is city sensibility and countryside sensibility. It's the same in the US. You're a city person, Manhattan person like myself. You go out into the countryside and you're like, stupid, type. And I'm no offense to, I love nature. I love going out to the countryside. People are very friendly. The people here are super friendly. But it's just fun to like look at the difference in sensibility. I don't want to say it's more innocent, but you know what I mean? Like, so anyway, we came out. This is like in the train station. They had like all this like Ultraman stuff. It was all cool. We're like, oh, we're going to have to check this out. We can't come back. When we came back, it was all closed.
Yeah.
So we only got like this one photo. If you can see anything here. Yeah, they had like all this kind of, I'm not an Ultraman guy, but they had all this like, here's a Godzilla thing, but they had a lot of stuff here.
They did.
But I did get, this is like in the front, the inside front of the train station. And what is the Sister Cities thing here? And
we were looking at that. There was
this is what this is. This is being like, I guess whatever the Hikari no Kuni Nebula M78. So they have these sister city things.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're, I guess, doing kind of a little joke on it. Their sister city is Nebula M78.
Gotcha.
I didn't even notice that when we were there. So I want to hear some of the more like, Ultramans, Japan, they always have omiyage, which are snacks and things. And I bought Miyako back. Oh, some of the cheesecake, because our friend Aya up in Sukagawa, she recommended that cheesecake. Miyako was in heaven over this. It was so
Paige
good.
was so mad that I didn't pick some up for her, and I felt really bad about it.
It was good. So next time we go, rectify that. And then there was something about this that cracked me. Fukushima, Kite, Sunde. So because this is in the Fukushima area.
Yeah.
Fukushima Prefecture, Sukagawa. But I love this. It's like the first one here, on the left, like with the temple, it's like Fukushima. Then it says Kite. Fukushima is the name. Then it says Kite, come. And then on the end, it says and live. But I was cracking up. It's like, come. And they show stuff burning.
Yeah, we were like, what the hell was that?
It's like, yeah, come here and burn,
Aya sent me the video of that. I know she told us what it was, but she actually sent me the video of that. It's the fire festival that's out there.
Yeah, it looks cool, but I just thought it was like really like I thought
well, we had no idea what the hell it was.
And live here, and it's like everything's burning, So I just thought it was kind of funny. So I took a photo, but anyway, and this is outside the station.
That's I love that station a lot. Like something just real quick, like something that was really cool about Sukagawa is that neither one of us are necessarily huge Ultraman fans. We like the stuff, but we had a really great time. Like there's so much to see. So if you guys get out there and you're like, oh, I don't really like Ultraman, whatever, I still think this is worth the ride up there to go and see. It's
Yeah,
a
no, I
nice,
mean, it's fun.
it's a nice
And
place.
it's Tsuburaya, and there is Godzilla stuff,
Yeah, there is. There
It's
is.
Tsuburaya, so and he's the man, So yeah, then they have this,
The
this
giant plastic thing.
the marble statue of
Yeah,
Ultraman out here. And we're looking at that like, oh wow, it's like this thing is like carved out of granite. It's so awesome. And you were looking, and I go up and I like touch it, and it's like hollow fiberglass.
yeah.
It was like, what? I was talking to Ed, because I showed Ed my photos. One night we were like going through the photos. He's like, he's been up here, and he didn't even touch it, so he thought it was also made out of granite or something like that. He's like, "Are you serious? Next time we go, you gotta touch the thing, because it's such a
knock
like,
on it.
what? I don't know why, but anyway, I mean, it's nice and all, but like anyway, so they had like the this thing outside. So
The weather too was gorgeous that fucking day. Like it was
it was nice. So we started walking, because the museum takes like what, 15 minutes to get
something
to,
like that, yeah. From
and then it's all like, yeah, this is where we are out in the weather was just great. I mean, it was nice. It was like fall. It wasn't too cold.
Yep.
Because Japan's a little, I'm from the East Coast, New York. So this is November, and November is like in Japan is generally like October, even though we're a little up high, so it's more like the same as New York. So it's like New York November, but it was still like a warmish day, So yeah, and it's just like all this type of countryside stuff, So yeah, it was good. And then looking back towards the station, and oh, who is that? There's an Ultraman character. Yeah, they had all the characters lined up on the way to the museum, I guess, to keep you interested, So then like this guy, and this is
Taro.
Ultraman Taro, right? Taro. So they had the Taro guy there, and we were like, yeah, we're taking photos of it. And then they've got the Ace guy there. We're taking photos of Ace. And they're all nice, they're all really nice. And I guess, yeah, Aya drove us, so we didn't see, but they have lights at their feet, so they must light up at night. That would be kind of cool to see. There he is again. And then we have Ultraman Haha. What do you call her in English?
I don't remember. I think it's Ultra Mother, but the people in the chat can tell me. I don't remember.
Yeah. But that's what it says, the name on the bottom.
Yeah.
Urutra no Haha. So
yeah. They're very nicely done too. I mean, I love the fact that you can see like the eye holes and everything, as if like they were the suits,
Right. But they look cross-eyed to me.
They look cross. Fair enough. I see what you mean. Yeah, like the pupils.
Yeah. No, I like her design. I like the hair or wings things that are kind of like falling off on the sides of the head. Yeah, no, they're nice. And then we're walking by, and there was like, I guess this was and it's really funny. It says in Japanese, it says, "We have cute things inside." That's what this says on the thing. Kawaii. This is I forgot how to pronounce this because I can't read it, but stuff. We have cute things. So I took this photo, and here's Matt doing his photo thing.
Doing my, you know what? No. Hold on. Doing my photo thing. All I remember from that day, well, besides the dozen of nice memories, but one of my strongest memories is I would take photos, and then you would get visibly annoyed with me. You're like, no, you gotta like, and you're like doing all this dynamic stuff, and I'm like, I'm trying to do the touristy thing. I'm not trying to get the dynamic, and you're like, no, just give it to me, and you're like doing your thing. So like, I'm sitting here trying to get these dynamic photos, and
no, I mean, that's warning anyone who hangs out with me. I did that to Tokyo Toy Bastard yesterday. He was shooting something, and I'm like, do you mind if I interject here? Could you frame it like this and set it up like this? And he was to our subject on that. He was like, Norman's a director, but he was nice. And my suggestions, I only make suggestions because I feel very strongly about how you photograph stuff, not like I'm the world's greatest photographer, but
well, you've only, how many fucking sets have you been on? Like, it's just.
And then this guy, I've seen him before. But
I don't know
yeah,
who that is. It's like some
and
man of old
there he
tradition.
is. There's Matt, and this he's like, get
You know,
away
if I
from
just
me.
had a little fin going down my head, we'd have the same hairstyle, basically. You know.
And
Oh, I forget
uh
who that guy was. Is it Bemular? Is that who it is?
yeah, it says Bemista. It says
Bemstar. Bemstar.
Uchu Dai Kaiju Bemista. Bemusta.
Which
So,
one was it that the old lady stopped us at?
oh yeah, well we were walking by, and then that old lady um talked to the old man here, and she was like, said hello to us. Then we talked for a little bit, and very friendly. I
She was
asked her for a cafe recommendation. She told me the was the lobby of the hotel. I was like, man, that's the local. Like, you don't have like real coffee shops around here, but she's like, oh,
right.
that's the best one over there. She was very nice, and we talked about Subaraya. Oh, we're so proud of Subaraya here. So yeah, I mean that's like, when you're out, because there's not a lot of people on the street,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, she was really nice. I was kind of, oh, we should have taken a photo with her, that would have been fun too.
I
A
think
little
I have a photo of her approaching, like as I'm taking photos, like you can see her like visibly coming closer, and that's like the only photographic like evidence I have that we even met her.
Oh, okay. And here's another Matt taking more photos. You got it wrong, Matt. No. Okay, sorry. Like this photo. I mean, I would edit this photo and reposition it, but look, he's got a thing in his hand. And then we went by this cafe, and there was the autograph of this actor there. I don't know his name, and you can see
Okay,
my
wait,
reflection, me taking the photo
his
there.
name is escaping me right now. He was in What's Up, Tiger Lily, too, the Woody Allen movie. Played Wing Fat.
Oh,
Forget what
nice.
his name is though.
Yeah, I'm sure I can't see the chat because I can only see my photos, but I'm sure everyone's like,
Um,
these idiots don't know Ultraman.
well, he's been what the hell was that guy's? Anyways, yeah, he's pretty famous. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Susumu Kurobi. That's who it
Oh,
is.
okay, thank you. And there's another Ultraman dude.
That was
Ultraman dude.
See, and I was cracking up around there too because you were singing the Seven theme song.
Was do I even
Yeah.
know it?
Well, you
No,
did
I
the
was
first.
singing. I was singing Lupin the Third. I was going Lupin, Lupin,
Oh,
Lupin,
no,
Lupin, Lupin the Turd. Like the first time I heard that, is he singing Lupin the Turd? Because they can't really pronounce in Japanese the third. It's like the hardest thing to say for a
right,
Japanese person. So
right.
it sounded like the first time I heard it, like back in the 80s, it's like, is he saying the turd?
You said 777.
Yeah, I
That
was
was
doing, maybe something, whatever, please. Hey, it's the cover of August's book.
yeah. Cheers.
And I wrote for that book too, so I'm a co-author on it.
Yeah.
And they have, but they got like, even like on the light posts up here, they got stuff going on. You can see across the street. We were like jumping back and forth, like running in traffic. That's kind of a little more how the lay of the main road is there. And they had the Ella King guy. I saw him I was over at Toho Built, and during shooting of Ultraman Max.
That's right. Yeah.
And I watched them shoot some Ella King stuff. I went to the Max set quite a bit. So yeah, I saw a bunch of like classic, revivals of these guys. That was kind of cool. And his thingies spin on his head. So yeah, it was kind of cool. There was then there was a bank. I had never heard of this bank, but it's like a Toho bank.
It was the Sukagawa branch of Toho.
Yeah, Sukagawa, give us your money. Give us your money. But it was like, yeah, Toho. There's like a lot of companies called Toho. Like I've got a burner for yakiniku here, and it's like made by some company called Toho.
Really?
But it's like I don't know. It's weird. I think that it's been compressed, but the full name is a different name. So anyway, this is going into this is where the Tsubaraya Museum is, which isn't really very big, but it's part of like
it's like a community center kind of thing.
This is like a government building, so it's like community center there, and they had those little beanie chairs over here to sit on, and I didn't want to sit on them. And then they had, yeah.
I like, as if that was ever an option. Like we were thinking, like, oh yeah, let's sit on this, and you're like, I don't want to. It goes up my butt. I don't like it.
No, I don't know. I just didn't want to sit on those things. It looked weird, you know. So
It would
and
say,
then they
like,
had this. What
this
is
thing
this
is
like?
cool.
Yeah,
That
it's
thing
like
was really neat.
the Nauska thing, like made out of cardboard. So that was kind of cool.
Did we ever find out like why that was there? I remember that you had asked, but I don't seem to recall if we ever actually got an answer. Because I mean, it's really neat. It's almost like life size.
Right.
But
I don't remember. Did I ask someone? But
I
then
think
they
you
had
had
these
somebody
like
upstairs.
they had these big ultra figure things that were
Red
here.
King. Yeah.
I like this dude's expression. Anyway, and then they had this one here, and they're big. There's photos of us standing next to them, and I took this photo. It says Swaranai Dene, and I was telling Matt at the time, it was like, that's written for children. Like, how would that be in English? Like, you know, like, be sure not to touch them, you know, like that kind of thing, you know, but it's written for children. You know, in like regular Japanese would be Swaranai or Swaranai kudasai, like please don't touch. But that when it says like Swaranai ne, you know, that kind of softens it and makes it like you're telling a kid not to do something, but you're telling them in a nice way. So
right.
This one was smaller.
Bolton.
Actually, I also saw Bolton on the Max set too. So, and then they had this setup over here, I guess, like kids could play with these blocks or something. And then, yeah, they even had ultra stuff on the blocks themselves.
Oh, I didn't even notice that before.
Yeah, well, anyway, and then there's Matt taking a photo. You got it framed wrong. Yeah, they have like little reading room of kid stuff, you know, to sit around and read books. And there you can see how big those things are, you know. I got my Night of the Living Dead gory t-shirt on.
Perfect for a kids centric place.
Now, Night of the Living Dead just played in Japan. It's first time ever to play theaters in Japan.
No kidding.
So when you talk about like when did Night of the Living Dead premiere in Japan, it's 2022. Even though, I mean, it's been out on VHS. Actually, Dawn of the Dead played in Japan before Night ever came here. And then Night of the Living Dead came out in Japan in the 80s on VHS the first time, but it may have played at like a film festival, and there were people privately who had brought in, you know, bootleg 16 millimeter prints of the film without subtitles. But it was only this past year that it actually got an official release, a 4K release, and the Blu-ray 4K is coming out.
It's got to look pretty gorgeous. Have you seen like any samplings of how it looks?
Yeah. I worked on the Blu-ray a little bit, so no, I saw it in the theater a couple times. You know, that was fun. But anyway, they had that. They had two versions of the shirt: one with English Night of the Living Dead, and one with a Japanese title. Of course, I picked the Japanese title, and all the Japanese picked the English title.
Love it.
We all like the looks of each other's language, you know, more than our own native language.
Jim says they're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah, I hope so. And there's Matt about to get bonked on the head.
Bolton and Alden.
Yeah, and this is kind of how the layout was. And
that's a really nice photo. Actually, I didn't know you took that one. I mean, because it does get like the whole layout really well.
Right. And you're in the center there. And then they had these Shin Ultraman Gachapon things.
I had to pry you away from buying all of them. I'm like, we don't need them.
Then this is upstairs. We went upstairs to it was like the third floor.
Do we want to talk about Aya at all, or?
Yeah, we'll mention. Yeah, we met this very charming woman there who was very fun. We had a very good time with her, and we will mention, and we're forever indebted to her kindness. And anyway, so this is upstairs at the actual museum, which isn't that big. They had a big book section here, and I was doing my usual bragging routine where I'm in a lot of these. I'm in a couple of these books, like the Tomiyama right here, this green thing here, this is written by Shogo Tomiyama, the producer of like Heisei and Millennium series, and he wrote this book several years ago called the Management of Godzilla, and I have a bunch of photos inside of that. And what else did I work
Everybody
on?
was very impressed with that because, I mean, and everybody there, even the museum's director came down to meet you and give us his business card, and
Yeah, it was fun. Everyone was really nice. Oh, this is I've got photos inside
that's the
this
Inoue
one.
thing, right?
Yeah. I've got photos. 2 photos of me actually are in that, not photos that I took. But no, it was fun. I didn't like, oh yeah, they really had a here and at the other place, the Tokusatsu archive, they really had an incredible like kaiju book collection, like everything. It was wild. And they had all these like signatures around, so here's art director Mike, and here's something Higuchi did, and then Onoue did this one, and then Ano drew this thing over here for them. And who are some of the other people? I guess
this whole thing was such kind of like like we were kind of rushing through it because Aya was like, "Hey, did you know about that Tokusatsu archive thing?" Because we had no idea. We were just going there.
Yeah, we didn't know. I mean, I knew the Tokusatsu archive, but I didn't know it was so close to this place.
Right. Yeah.
And then Aya, like, very friendly woman, just started talking to Matt, and her English was very good. And then she's like, if you guys want, I can drive you over there. I got to pick my kids up. And yeah, we had like a really good time. Her kids were, her 2 daughters were, Matt was seeing, I mean, I was having a great time.
I was going to say, I didn't know if you wanted that public knowledge, but Norman is fantastic with kids, and the kids absolutely love him.
I worked with children for 20 years before I became fully self-employed through the movie business here. But no, and they were good. They were good kids, and I hope I can see them. We can all get together. I mean, next time you're out here.
They sent us a Christmas card. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah. And anyway, so then going inside, there was like, they're trying to show like things that inspired him as a kid, and what he went on to really do, nice. And like things that he's interested. And they had a lot of these like things set up. I think they were trying to make this seem like as if they were real creatures. I don't know what, like here, like trying to show them as if they were like whatever. Anyway, so I took Anguirus, how I pronounce it, but I guess this is Gigantus, the fire monster, Anguillus, right? Yeah. And
I think so,
that was a photo from before. And then I love Minya and Mothra egg there.
Do you say Minya or do you say Manila?
I say Minya.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I mean Manila just sounds like an ice cream flavor to me,
or an envelope. Yeah.
So I have to say Minya. This is like reproduction of the SY3.
That was super cool to see.
This one on its side. Then just these kind of like Godzilla fins and stuff, and there's Aya in the back talking to somebody, so yeah, they had all this cool stuff set up, and I mean, it's always it's always fun to look at stuff like this, and these models are really nice. It's the P1, and again, lots of books and lots of things that were like inspirational to Tsuburaya. And this is a photo I'd never seen.
Great photo right there.
Yeah, I love this photo. I always love when kids would come to the Millennium set. I'd always take photos. It wasn't like the old days. I mean, there was only one time I know GMK that Kaneko's son came with his class, and they came to do like a field day and the kids had to ask like, "What's your job? What do you do?" And they all had like little I don't know if that's even in my book. It might be, but they all had like notepads and writing down things. And
I
but
think I was mistaking it because I thought you were gonna. There's a story in the book about Kaneko bringing his son to the set, but I don't think the class coming to the set is in there. So
right, no, he was there when we were setting off fireworks, and then Yoshida, who plays Godzilla, he found a frog like right by the big pool. So I have a photo of Yoshida with a frog and Kaneko's son Suzu. But anyway, yeah, I always like these photos with lots of kids there, especially the old school photos like this. And this is, as you can see, it's like totally War of the Gargantuas,
oh
which is
yeah,
really like peak Showa stuff with Tsuburai in the middle. Yeah, no, it
love it.
was nice. So, and there's Matt. And yeah, it's kind of like, and then they had that film
That's
which
right.
we saw there, that film that it's exclusive to this place. They wouldn't let us take photos. You're not allowed to photograph that thing. That film is fantastic.
It really is. It
It was
really
really
is.
good. I mean, like, damn, it was. Yeah, it was. What? How would you describe it?
I think it's personally better than most of the stuff that we've been seeing at Godzilla Fest. I mean, they're actually Suzuki, the special effects director of we met him at the Godzilla party in 2018. I forget, he worked on one of the Tezuka movies, but he directed it and utilizes a
He did
lot of like
Godzilla Millennium. He did Mega Giras.
yeah, yeah.
He did the Mothra, rebirth of Mothra stuff, effect
It
stuff.
it really kind of combine it does a lot of what the old Millennium movies did, where it would not only use the miniature sets, but it would also take like real life photography, film real life locations, and then superimpose the monster in it. And they really did a fantastic job. When this was announced back in 2018, I was kind of like whatever, but then actually seeing the finished product,
Yeah,
it
it was.
really,
Yeah, it was a lot better than I thought. But they only show it at the museum. So if you want to see that film, you got to come to the museum,
yeah,
and they won't let you videotape it or anything. So they're really trying to keep that as like their little thing to make people. So if people go there, do not take a secret video of it and
yeah,
up it
really.
to YouTube, because that's just like, you might as well put a sign over your head that just says "I am an asshole." I mean,
This place is worth going to. Like,
yeah, it's
even if
worth
this was the
going
only
to.
thing that we were going to do, like if we didn't do the archive center, even though the archive center and everything surrounding that was amazing, this was worth the trip out there just to take in everything. It's just really immaculate. It's very cool. The
Yeah,
atmosphere is
if
great.
I had known we were going to the archive center, I would have made us come out earlier, because there
Oh,
was like,
right, right. But everything that happened in Sukagawa, I mean, we just had such a great experience, but like this
yeah,
alone is worth going to.
this is great. I mean, can't wait to go back again. Yeah, there's just a lot. It wasn't that big, but there was a lot going on inside of the space. It was very detailed. And then they had this other room on the side where they had like, this is like a recreation of the miniature of the giant pool, back in the 60s, because the pool was downsized twice. So like when I got involved with Godzilla, it was already small,
Right.
bit, and now it's gone. It was torn down like 13 years ago. But yeah, I remember like Isao Takahashi, one of the art guys, and he was like, "Oh, Norman, I wish you had seen it back in the day when it was like went all the way over there and all the way over here. It was really like huge, and it was still cool. The pool, and like on the side here, these wave makers, they still had the wave makers. They never, this side of the pool they never like cut into, because over on the left side here, this is where Studio 8 and Studio 9 is. So
Right.
it was always like say that we're looking. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, so say this is like the pool at Toho, and you've got like the backdrop here. On this side, on the right side, they pulled it over, and then this space they started using for, like in GMK, it was like, it was where the close-up stuff of the rubble in Yokohama. And then in other Tokyo SOS, they would make like destroyed buildings over in this area. But originally you couldn't do anything here, because it was like the edge of Toho
Yeah.
property right here. But they kind of pulled it in like halfway, and then this area they used for other things and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I wish I could have seen it as it was in its glory. A little look at that. It's really nice. I mean, look at
It
that.
really
Look
is.
at
That's a
that.
really great shot.
You know, yeah,
Can
it was
you
hard. It was like
continue?
it was a little darkish in there. So, you know, and we were kind of like speeding through. So that's why it's all
You were.
lopsided, you know. And then they had this kind of recreation, I guess, of Studio 9, or it might have been, Ed's more knowledgeable on this, like where they shot, because I don't think, I mean, Studio 9 was built in the late 50s. So like 54 wasn't shot in Studio 9. Studio 9 was like the biggest stage in Asia. 8 and 9, they're the same size, and
Right.
they're right next to each other. But 9 always became like the effects set, you know, the effects stage and stuff like that. So you know, this isn't like completely accurate, but it's very, very accurate. I mean, it's accurate enough.
Yeah.
There's no, well, you see this guy up here with the lights up here, you know. I mean, and also really at Toho, it's all like the what do you call the catwalk up on the top there. And
Yeah.
I write about that in my book, you
Scaffolding.
know, how it smelled and goo is pouring, and it was like tied up by literally by these thick ropes, you know, holding it up. All of that's gone now and all been replaced with, you know, very safe steel things up there. But all that in the, you know, old days was all built out of wood with in ropes literally
Yeah.
suspended from the ceiling.
Yeah. That's
You
crazy.
know? So then they had this, you know, little, you know, this is like, yeah, it was really neat. I mean, look at this, you know.
Yeah.
I love stuff like this, you know. And then they had yeah, actually Mike did these drawings for them here. It's just kind of like, yeah, describing, like, yeah, you can see here, like, yeah, describing where things were at the studio. I mean, this is all like if you look at this photo now, you see this road coming here.
Yeah.
Now this road goes straight through here. So, and this part of Toho is all gone now.
Interesting.
But this is Studio 1, and this is 2. So, and even if you watch, I think it's like Mega Giras, there's a shot of the building with a white top that says Toho on it, and that you can see that on the top. And this was one entrance to Toho right here, and then the other entrance was over here. You come in here and you can walk around, but now Toho is like, if you can see my cursor, this is how Toho is today. Okay, it goes here, comes around here. You've got the river over here, and you walk over here. See, here's the pool.
Yeah.
This is the pool over here. This is all gone now, and this is like Studio 12. And there's a big screening room over here now. I was there last year. I subtitled the film, and the staff screening was over here. And yeah, so this is like gone now. But 8 and 9 are still there. 8 and 9 are still there. And these buildings here, these are all gone. These are gone too. And then you see how there's like nothing over here? That's, you know, we were up there. It's all apartment buildings
Yeah.
now. And yeah, so Toho's really like shrunk. You now you walk in, there's that Godzilla statue, and then you just like walk in a circle around and you're out. You know, but back then, even in my day, you know, all this is like the PR department, which used to be the finance. People get paid. That's why it's in my book. There was a safe, you know, an
Yeah.
actual like steel safe in there. But they used to pay people in cash, you know. And this was the offices, the Toho offices, like the on-set offices right here. And the lunch room was down here. And then this is, yeah, Studio 1, which were from like the original studios for Toho. And then you had like 5. I did my running in Godzilla Millennium in this one.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, and these have all been replaced now with more modern, like all of these are gone now. All of these have been replaced with more modern. The studios themselves, of course, they're much nicer than back in the old day. They're more, you know, high tech. They're more geared towards modern filmmaking. That's why one of the reasons the pool is gone is they don't need to have a body of water like that, because they do it CG.
Yeah.
You know, they do it through more advanced compositing techniques. So they don't need it anymore. So I'm not saying like they got to keep it for old time's sake, but you know, yeah, I mean, it's still sad, to say, it's gone. And then here, like you walk up here and then you go up here, and this is where Tsuburaya had his Tsuburaya Pro was like really close, and that's also now gone.
Yeah, we walked up in that area,
Yeah.
and it was all just
Yeah, I mean
suburbia.
that was like gone 20 years ago. So, and then here's sort of what it looks like kind of from when you walk into the place.
The people at home can't really tell, but this room was actually really huge. Like that's actually a really big area right there.
Yeah. It was neat. And again, it was like, shoot, wish I had more time
I
to
know.
like take it all in and stuff. So yeah, no, and I mean, yeah, it's like, all this stuff. They were really, I think Miike supervised all this, and Miike's the man. Miike's like, the guy. Really, he fell in love with his stuff as a kid, and he studied it, and he became like, the top, art director for tokusatsu stuff in Japan. So
Yeah.
here's another neat little diorama, and then this is more like Tsuburaya's life on display.
They had some really neat like little shadow boxes in each like thing. It was kind of like this
Yeah.
3D kind of setup. And there's also English like on all the I believe on all the readouts, right? Like or
I don't remember.
Okay. I'm trying to remember.
And then we went over to the Tokusatsu Archive Center, which is something, I guess, like Ano and Higuchi and Onodera and like other people that like put together. I think Haraguchi's involved in this and stuff. And I think what was the guy saying? Like they petitioned the government for something like this.
Yeah, to recognize like tokusatsu as like a national art form or historical artifact.
So they set this thing up. So I after we picked our kids up, kindly drove us over there, and there was nobody there. It was just us, So, there's all Matt, all happy and stuff. When he knew how to smile.
Now you're making me sad, Norman.
And the entrance, and there were cracks on the ground, and I asked them, they were like left over from 311 because this is Fukushima, But anyways, my order is it's all out of order. This is like Shinkansen back. Sorry, when we get in there, like you can't take photos.
Oh yeah, that's
your
right.
Good camera. You can only take photos with your cell phone. Sure, okay, whatever. This is out of order. This is a Shinkansen. When we got there, because we went back kind of nightish.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and this is Tokyo Station after we got there.
Oh yeah, that was just
it was
hell of a sight.
Spectacular night out there. It was, and we were just like, and a lot of people were like, man, it was just like really just cool.
Yeah, so, the moon.
Oh, this is inside. Now these are my photos inside from the I don't know. I know I'm a big kidder. Sorry, Higuchi. I wanted him to clean my ear there, so very disrespectful. But anyway, this is they got this stand. There's my magazine on his Egahiho, which is actually defunct now.
Do you think the next time you'll go there, maybe you'll donate a copy of your book?
Yeah, maybe. And then they had a setup here for there's Kaneko and Murase. There's like some comments like they had been there or something. Yeah, and then they have some stuff here. Yeah, you can see down here, Sato's doing his new movie. The guy who did what was it? The puppet movie.
Yeah, Brush of the Gods.
Yeah, Brush of the Gods. They're doing. Oh wait, the new one is Brush of the Gods.
Yeah, the other one was Howl Beyond the Fog.
Yeah, Howl Beyond the Fog. Right. So this is a little thing and like that, and then just something from Kaneko. And then going inside, you got a bunch of the old planes and stuff, and a lot of these like old matte paintings. Remember, I asked the guy about the matte paintings.
Yeah.
He's like, especially the space one. He's like, no one knows what it was made for. because they
Interesting.
didn't keep things. So a lot of these things they were done by, his name is not coming to the guy who would paint the skies behind
Oh yeah. What?
the things, and I've only met him a bunch of times, and his name is not coming to me. But
Sorry, I have his book, but I don't remember.
these are paintings that he did, but they didn't know. And this was another one. I've seen this globe around, and he said the guy at the place said, "Yeah, we don't know. Nobody knows what it was actually made for." And I pressed Ed, and Ed was like, "Yeah, I thought it was for something, but yeah, I don't know." And it seems like no one knows what this was actually made
Really
for.
a gorgeous prop, very big,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
superbly detailed.
Then
Old
this
friend
is,
of yours.
yeah, my old, yes, this is Hachiko. This is from Gamma 3. And then there's Aya and her kids, and they had this screen here, and you could they had like these masks, Ultraman things, and you could like touch the screen and spin them around and stuff like that. It was kind of neat.
It really was.
And there he is again, Shin Ultraman. And then they had like where most of the stuff is there. It's just like all behind this glass thing.
Yeah.
So you kind of just walk around. You can't really like interact with the stuff, but you can see like just like
I was having sensory overload looking into that.
It was sensory overload. I mean, like this thing is from Gamma 3. There's the jet. Hataguchi redid this one. Because I have a photo of me with it. Before I was over at Hataguchi's place when he used to live in Shibuya, and he had just gotten the original prop from this of Jet Jaguar, and the arms were replaced because I'm holding it and it's got like no arms. So he had to refurbish the thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Oh, and you were freaking out over this stuff.
I was freaking out about that stuff. I was absolutely freaking out about that stuff because that was like the last thing I've obviously, unlike yourself, I mean, I've encountered very few things. It's like Godzilla suits are really cool, but then to see this thing, which I was not expecting,
what is it? Is this Dino?
It's from Power Rangers, but I mean, in the Japan world, it's from Jew Ranger.
Okay.
But that was my intro to kind of like Toei tokusatsu right there.
Oh, okay.
It really was really neat. And from what I understand, they had just put those in like not that long prior to us getting there. So that was like a brand new addition kind of thing.
Lucky you. So yeah, then there was there's a shot of them right like that. This is the shot from Matt there. And then there we go with the jet. I gravitate towards the Toho stuff.
Well, of course, yeah,
stuff, So, and then there are these things. I think this is the original. I was over at Hataguchi's place a couple weeks ago, and he's actually got a repro of this.
Is that from Submersion of Japan, or am I mistaking that?
Where's Ed when we need him?
Yeah, I know, right?
The thing in King Ghidorah, Godzilla, 2.
Oh, okay, my bad.
The one with
there's lots of submarines. It's hard to remember all of them.
I'm sorry. That's why I keep Ed around. Yeah, like I said, from Gamma 3, you can see the films that were.
I love the
playing back there, Titanic, and Jackie Brown. So, and this building, which is part of the Shibuya battle, and this building, used to be there, but now they've destroyed it and built a bigger department store on top of it. Really, it's kind of sad when it went, but it's like, yeah, it's in Gamma 3, and this is from that Higuchi Anno and Miike thing.
I forget what it's called. They had the little model there too.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Ultracon, thank you so much. Ultracon just donated $20. These photos and background stories that embody this fun adventure of you guys is so inspiring, so amazing, and such great memories. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, great.
Thank you very much, Ultracon. It's good to see you, my friend. I hope you are well. He's a really cool dude.
Yeah, and then they had these big old battleships from stuff I don't know. Sorry.
Well, no, they had a couple of the if I remember right, they had little display things that actually said like what they were from, but a lot of it was just, again, we were kind of just overwhelmed because I mean, there's so much stuff to look at in there.
Yeah, and everything closes at 5.
Yes,
That's the
other
thing.
thing.
Everything closes at 5. You know, it's like, damn. You know, stay open till 8.
Yeah.
You know, so we were, that's why it was like, oh man. So I think, you know, we go out there the next time, like leave at the crack of dawn. You know.
Yeah. No, I would love. I would love to go back to both of these and just do that.
I was really into the woolly mammoth.
Do you know what that's from, or was it just a...
I'm not really sure. I wonder if this was from that, like, what's it called? The Peking Genjin or whatever, the 90s big disaster movie. It could have been, but don't quote me on it. Or it could be a TV thing. You know, I mean, you know, and anyway, this was, what did I say? This was Gamera the Brave?
You said it was Gamera the Brave, and I told you it wasn't, and you were like, it's from Gamera the Brave, that's what it is. But then I had a live stream about this, and they told me what movie it was from, and I sent it to you, and you're like, oh yeah, that one movie, and I forget what it's called. I think if Andres is still in the chat, I know he'll recognize it. But it was from some recent, I think it, I didn't want to guess what it was, but you knew what movie it was.
Right.
But it's I'm waiting to see if anybody in the chat can say.
Educate us. We're naive.
Yes, we're very I feel like you worked on it, like you did something for it, or you were going to. Or...
No. I mean, I was on the set for Gamera the Brave one day, only because I was at Nikatsu on the set of a Kaneko's film, the God's Left Hand, Devil's Right Hand, and then just like 2 doors down, they were shooting effects shots for Gamera the Brave. So I walked over, and it was all the, you know, the Millennium Godzilla staff, and they're like, "Oh, Norman, check it out. We've got no money for this movie, but we're working as hard as we can." Yeah, cool. You know, but I only really saw Gamera the Brave like when the Arrow box set came out. That was the first time to see it.
Right. Okay. We just got the name for the turtle. It's Picadon from Love and Peace.
Oh, okay. This Sonoshion movie. Right. And I think Taguchi did the effects on that one, right? I haven't seen the film, right?
I haven't seen it either.
Right. So they had this huge library down here, you know. So it was like, whoa, you know, but like, yeah, going through, like, there's my magazine Egahiho, so I could brag and show many articles, because I had a bunch of the like kaiju related ones. So I had a bunch of stuff in these, a lot of, just a ton of books.
Yeah.
You know, in here. I mean, you could just like go and study. And they also had like, I should have photos. Here, Ed and Steve's book is right here. I think this is Yagi's book on the side. I might be wrong. Yeah, the Ino Ue things. This is from, you know, this came out just before Ino Ue passed away.
Yeah, they're really good books.
There's a big chapter on bringing Godzilla down to size in here. And then this is from last year's Yasuyuki Ino Ue exhibition. It would have been his 100th birthday if he was still alive, you know, with the big Rodan recreation, you know, thing.
And your film was played there for
my film was like playing on a loop through that. And here's Kaneko's book down on the bottom here.
Oh, have you gotten that autograph?
No, I haven't. You know, Kaneko was over the other day, and then he went home, and I was like, oh, forgot to get him to sign Matt's copy of that. So I'll do that later. And then they had a bunch of kids stuff.
That was super neat too.
Drawing like Ultraman stuff. And then we went upstairs. So you go upstairs, and little cutesy drawing of sets and stuff like that.
You know who actually, I found out who drew that, and it was the guy who, and of course his name is escaping me right now, but
it's right there, Iizuka Sado.
Yeah, the guy who did all the optical effects for the Showa Godzilla films and for Ultraman.
Oh, okay.
He did like Ghidorah's you know, gravity beams and Ultraman.
Oh, okay, right. Like okay, I know, because Matsumoto, who's also in my book, was the effects supervisor, like on Heisei Gamera and some of the Millennium things and stuff. And he was like a big, I think he studied under Iizuka. I think that's what.
He's really cool. He did a Ultraman kids book in that same style, but it's all about the making of Ultraman, and it's really
Really?
cool because it goes into like stuff like this. Like it's I bought it just because of the fact it's a fun little thing that actually shows how these things are made, but brought down to a kid's level.
Right, right. Oh,
Really
sounds
neat.
cool. Here's this. I've always liked this photo.
That's a great photo.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd been on those sets. I mean, they're
Oh,
like described in my bringing not bringing Godzilla downstairs. So the behind the kaiju curtain, is very they're a little grander in scale, back then, because they would do that, like build the sets and then move the camera around, on a whim. And
Is
then
there?
more, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, and forgive the deviation, but you might know this because I don't. Is there any kind of reporting that exists from around that time? From like, I mean, obviously, some of the American actors that were over there got to visit the special effects sets, but there like an Ed Gajicheski or a Norman England
Well,
back?
not really, but there are things like there are things in the Stars and Stripes,
Yeah,
the American military newspapers, and there's like a piece. I think Mark Suggs dug up an article, and it might have been like how but I don't know if it was like a set report or just like, oh, those those Japanese are at it again. It's kind of belittling. He's
gotcha.
looking down on Asian cultures, the superior American culture,
Right.
but I don't know of, and I'm not like a big historian on this stuff. I'm more knowledgeable about the stuff that I've been involved with,
Right.
but yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know of anybody that kind of did the stuff I did. Unfortunately, I wish we had set reports from Showa time by,
Yeah.
say, foreign reporters. I mean, there might have been people that went, but it would have been like day trippers or something like that, or even like the actors themselves didn't really. They might go over like once to the effect shooting, but they were like kind of, especially with actors too. If you're, you go to the set when you're on call, and then you
Yeah.
work, and then you go the next time you're working. So you're not really like, oh, I'm gonna meander over to the, the effects set like that.
Right.
I mean, sometimes they would, and they do little PR photos with the suits and stuff like that. But most of the time, I mean, it was more professional,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's, I guess, how I'd answer. Then they had like some of the older equipment
That
on
was
set
super
there.
cool to see too.
Yeah. And then this is like looking down from up there, inside, on the first floor. And then on the second floor, they had these like kind of big miniature setups. So they had this thing. I don't
You know
know
what's
what.
really stupid? I think I'm wearing the same exact hoodie today.
Oh, that's cool. That's fine. I'm wearing the same underwear I wore that. I don't know. Whatever.
You haven't changed since we've
Yeah,
gone.
I've changed it since that day. And then they had this big, I don't have a really like a faraway shot, but they had this like forced perception miniature
Wait,
thing
you took
going.
a whole bunch of pictures, or we
Yeah,
took
I
some?
know, whatever. I couldn't find them. So
Oh,
here's
okay,
a
okay.
kind of a further one, but it was like, one scale closer. And then they do that on the Godzilla set. So the further away they get, the size changes. So I think like in the front, it's like, whatever. I'm just pulling numbers out of my rear, but it was like be like 1/15th, and then a little for 1/20th, 1/25th, and it makes it look longer to the camera lens. So yeah, there's me doing War of the Gargantuas. I know, it's stupid.
It's not
Someone
stupid.
fire this guy, put him out of our misery. And
Are
then
you more Gyra than you are Sanda, or are you
I'm
more Sanda?
Gyra because I'm evil. I'm evil. We used to play that when I was kids, back in the early 70s, because I saw that when it played in theaters in the
Oh,
US,
that's fun.
1970, and we'd be, I'm the brown gargantua. No, I'm the brown gargantua. You be that green idiot. We all wanted to be the brown gargantua because he was like nice. And we had names. I can't remember. I think we called the green one George. Yeah, we called the green one George, and we
George?
called the brown one Sam. Don't ask me why. I mean, I was like 10 at the time,
It's kind of
but we
interesting that
didn't
you're
have
kind of
names
like,
in the movie, so we
yeah,
made up these names because I saw that movie 3 times in the theaters with my friends, so I don't that's right, I remember that, Sam and George. Don't ask me why.
that's interesting. That's
And why they
interesting.
have, like, Western names too, but yeah, and it was like cool. I mean, these are the detail on these things is yeah, pretty neat.
Yeah, oh yeah, so cool.
Yeah, so yeah, fun. Yeah, this stuff was all good stuff. And yeah, I mean, this is cool. I mean, check it out.
I know. Do did Miike have anything to do with like building these things? Do you know?
Yeah. I mean, this is like I'm sure if it's Iguchi. I mean, this is what Miike does. This isn't like Higuchi doesn't do this stuff. He's
Yeah.
the director. And
Right.
And this stuff is what the art department does. Of course,
Right.
Under the I don't want to say the supervision of the director, but the directors aren't responsible for the miniature work. I mean, that's like, I think what's come out, like, people think it's like, oh, Tsuburaya did all that miniature stuff. Tsuburaya didn't do the miniature stuff. That was like Ue, other art directors, the art staff like that, and so the director is the person who really, like, okay, looks good, maybe do a little more like this, do it like this, approves everything, but these people, it's like their own art form.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then they had this screening room. So we went over there. What was it? They were like, yeah, you got to see it. You got to see the film.
They showed the God Warrior thing, and then
God Warrior,
afterwards,
I've only seen like 100 times,
yeah. And then
So
there was like a making of that we stepped out of, I think.
Yeah. So we weren't really, it wasn't really like standing room only. So yeah, that, and there's Aya's kids.
Yeah. They had so much
and they had a thing I didn't even notice. They had this spot down where you put your camera, so you put your phone there, so it gets the clouds on the top.
Yep.
Like that. It didn't really work out, but the idea was cool. So yeah, that's that.
It was such a great day.
Sukagawa day.
It was super fun.
And I had one more little, very shortish folder to share. So why don't we get through that?
Okay.
Let's get through that. And these are like miscellaneous photos. So let me just share this. And there's not a lot of them. It's only like maybe 15 photos. And we just like plow through that. And then if anyone has any questions about anything, hold on a second. So
and
we
don't forget, you also have
start off with Matt has just gotten to Japan. And you usually stay over at the Gracery.
Yeah.
But this time we stayed at a Gracery in Ginza. So we're over there. I had to do the mandatory shot in front of the the whatever, the Wako building. Yeah, the thing from like in 54. So yeah, and then it was Sadako in the taxi cab.
I wish we would have done that. Apparently, it's like a big like experience thing, but I wasn't
inside the cab.
Yeah.
Really?
There was like they had some stuff, but you could also bring out your cell phone. They had like a little bit of an AR thing where it's like Sadako is supposed to be like in the car with you. Like
it was sort of like the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland at the ending, when you got the ghost sitting there. Me and my brother, when we do that and the ghosts are sitting next to you, so like 3 people can fit in those, we make the ghost in the middle of us, and we're like, you can see it in the mirror, so we're always like punching it in the face, like I'm punching the ghost in the face. Yeah, I mean, we respect nothing. But yeah, no, I did. You saw the Sadako DX movie, right?
I did, yeah. And you would have absolutely hated it.
Yeah. I did the subtitles to Sadako, the movie before this one, and Takako directed that one, and it wasn't like a bad movie, but it was just the budgets are just not enough to really bring a spectacle to the film. But then when they do these types of films when they're totally like marketed for kids, they raise the budget to be more like unless I'm wrong, but you know what I mean? Like to
Yeah,
make it
no, I
more
get what you're
like
saying.
colorful and but they're not really horror.
Do you remember your friends at Godzilla Day? You asked or they brought up Sadako DX and they were just like, it's terrible. Do you remember
Oh
that?
yeah, right. They were like, oh yeah, why? But I don't know. I mean, anyway,
It was
but
fun
it's
to see
fun. I
like
mean, these sometimes the stuff around the film
yeah,
is
and
better than
yeah,
the actual film. Even like yeah, my one of my Godzilla buddies, and he's also named Higuchi. Talking to him, he and I've said this before, I think on your show. I asked him about what was your in your Godzilla experience, what was your favorite time, and he said Heisei. The Heisei period was Godzilla came back because he was like probably he's a little younger than me, so he was too young to really get the Showa stuff.
right.
You know, because Showa ended in 75, so it was like when Godzilla 84 opened up, and it was a big revival of Godzilla and Godzilla products everywhere. And he said, then especially after Biolante, the Godzilla films were coming out like almost every year, and it was really exciting. The characters are coming back, and then he just goes in. The movies were crap, but the whole world around it was really fun.
Right.
It was just cracks me up to it. But I understand what he says, and I'm kind of like a little indifferent towards Heisei. I go into liking it to be like, what? I'm in a more positive Heisei mind these days. But I understand what his point was, but he goes to all of these. I mean, he's very loyal to seeing these films, even if he knows he's going to hate them. So yeah, he was like they were both those guys. And one of the other guy, whose name is slipping my mind right now, he wrote a book about Godzilla. I guess in 2016 it came out.
Oh, really?
So yeah, you might even have it. It's got a very whitish color on it cover, and I think 54 Godzilla on it. There's Matt in a little Showa
Oh, yeah,
section over at Nakano Mall. And I found out this area here, you got to be like a member of whatever this is to get inside of this place.
really?
Yeah. No, I love Showa style. So, but yeah, no, this is like all set up like it's like, the early 60s. So, and it says
I
there
like
above you,
I like
like, welcome to Nakano Jingaro. I can't read that last thing, street, something like that. So, something street. So, and then this is,
yeah.
this
Can I
is
explain this real quick? Like
sure.
we're walking through your neighborhood, and then Norman's just like, "Okay, stop. You got to get your picture taken here." And I'm like, "Why? Just get your picture taken." So I post for the picture, and then that's when you tell me what it is.
And
Was
this
it?
is Sakaguchi's dojo
Yes, the guy from Versus and
and
Azumi
Final
and
Wars.
Final Wars.
Yeah.
Who's in
Oh, I mean,
Kamen
he's in
Rider Kabuto.
yeah, I've worked with uh Tak a lot of times. So yeah, no, he's just got his dojo. It's just like down the block from me just by coincidence.
I don't
So
think you can
there
see
you
this,
go.
but Derek says, "I think the real memento here is Matt smiling all those years ago."
when I still knew how to smile.
And then Brian
And
says,
then
"Matt, you can
here
see
we are. We went out with
Jesus
Miyako
in."
and Matt. We took him out and we force fed him whale. And there's Matt eating whale. Am I not
All
supposed to
my
show these
friends are going to see
photos?
this now. I actually forgot about that. It was. I think I had one piece. I didn't have another piece. It was weird. It was kind of gelatinous. I'm glad I tried it. I'm glad you actually like made me try it. But it was an experience. That was real. It was a great dinner though.
Yeah, no, it was
It was
fun.
really
It was
good.
fun. Yeah, I've had whale a couple times. Now I'm kind of used to it. It's not like a big, it's more of like it's not a delicacy, but it's not that common.
What was the
So
yeah, what was the thing that you absolutely would not touch? Like Miyako and I had some. It was like the fish egg sack or something.
oh yeah, yeah. Probably Mendaiko. I just don't eat that stuff. That's like I think like ovaries or something like that. like unborn, they take them out of the fish before they've been like excremated or
So
whatever.
so appetizing. So
Yeah,
appetizing.
I know. So anyway, and then we were over in Shinjuku, and there was this Godzilla um Jirohanbaiki vending machine over here. Were there any? Yeah, I never put that up when I was in Kyoto. I spent a week in Kyoto last year, and they've got those Godzilla power drinks. I
Yeah.
never see them in Tokyo. Just you can buy them loose at the Godzilla store. But I actually found two vending machines in Kyoto with them, and I took photos of them. I never put them up on Twitter, but I should do that. And then we found my book was over at Kinokuniya, so I had to take a photo of my book next to the magic of Japan. And then we went over to Toho one day, but we didn't take a lot of photos.
That was fun.
We just walked around.
Do you remember the moon that night?
Huh?
Do you remember the moon that night?
Oh, yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, it was
really nice. Yeah, we walked around. I told Matt a bunch of stories about Toho stuff. Oh, and then we went out. This is when we went out with Bill and Gary and Shusuke.
That was a really
first
fun
night.
one.
Miyako in the back there. Yeah, we had a good old time. Yeah, there's like the three of us, and Miyako's doing her live long and prosper hand thing, and then this I just threw in here just before you came out. I hadn't seen Kitagawa in a while, and he's doing commissions now. And this is at this event called Brave and Bold, which is a kind of commission event, and Miyako was there. I just help her out as an assistant, but I got Tom to do me a commission, my first commission. And there it is. I made him do Minya for me. So
that's great.
And then the final photo is just when you were like taking off that night.
Yeah.
And we hung out with Kevin.
Kevin was a great guy.
Yeah, we had a good time. We had coffee like at this, sitting outside, looking right at the building right here. I like that cafe. The view, the coffee's not so good, but it's like a really prime spot, and the weather was just super nice, So,
and you helped me, and you helped me lug my cruddy luggage all the way to the station. And again, thank you for doing that.
And I have that right here. I'm going to show you. I've got this, right here, and then Kitagawa did this for me, and it says, to Norman on that. I'm like, has anyone made you do Minya? He says, absolutely not. The first one, and then he put a little, Gabara on the top there. So, that's what that is. So that was Matt's trip to Japan.
It was super cool.
No, we had a good time, and it was good. And it's like, sometimes it's good when friends come out, because it kind of gets me out of the house. And I mean, as long as like I'm not working.
Yeah.
It was just when you came, just before you, that was November, and I went through one of like the ultra busiest times. I subtitled like 7 movies, like in 2.5 months, on top of like everything else. And it was like, I mean, I was like going out of my mind. I'm still like in recovery. This month is pretty like, one of the things I wanted to do today too. We've been on for 2 hours, so we should kind of wrap this up shortly. Okay. But I'm finishing up a new book.
That's right. You are.
I'm finishing up a new book.
Very exciting. And do you want to do the cover reveal?
Yeah, I'm going to do the cover reveal, which is really no big deal, but
it is a big deal. It's a cool cover.
Yeah, well, yeah. Anyway, so we've got the so I'm just selling it through Amazon. Like I'm not going through a publisher or anything like that, but I just decided, like my Godzilla book is through a legitimate publisher. And so the new one is, I mean, basically what it is it's like all the magazine articles I wrote, mostly Fangoria stuff. So it's mostly like starting with my first piece in, I guess, 98, and then going up to my last piece in 2015, I guess. Something I did for the Miike film, the Yakuza Apocalypse. It was like my last Fangoria piece. And then I got a couple extra pieces. Like I had written a piece about Singular Point for a magazine that has still not been published. It was very annoying. And like the director, Takahashi, was really great. He gave me like quotes about Singular Point. You've read the piece, right?
You never sent it to me.
Oh, I never did. Okay, well, that's in the book, and it's got some information on Singular Point and like quotes from the director. And then I had written a piece on Kakusei Fujiwara, who was a suit maker and
Mhm.
a special makeup guy. He's been working on these new Kingdom films. They're big budgeted things, and he did the Yamazaki's Parasite film, and he
Yeah.
did I Am a Hero. He did all the zombie things for I Am a Hero. He did My Alien in The Idol,
Yep.
and I met him on Millennium. So I did a kind of a piece for him for the new Fangoria. The piece is very good, and I don't know, the Fangoria, the new people there, I just put it like diplomatically, as I don't get along with them. So they never ran in the magazine. So I was like, and I like the piece. It's got very unique information. And Kakusei is a wonderful artist,
Yeah.
and he runs like one of the very few real, like a special makeup house here. So, and he works on a lot of films. I did stills on a film 2 years ago, and he did a lot of makeup stuff on that. And we'd always have lunch together. And yeah, he built Rodan, right? He built Rodan, and he built
Yeah, he did
the
a
Final Wars. And didn't he do? Did he do King Caesar? Did Hedra? I can't remember. But
I
no,
don't
he's a good
remember.
guy. So I've got that. So there's a couple like unpublished pieces at the very end of the book, but most of it's like, and it's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's
Yeah.
over like 80 big articles, and I got photos in this book this time. So I don't hear any complaints about no photos in the book. I got over 200 photos in this book that, some were published in Fangoria, but yeah, we're talking like maybe 5% of what's in there. But the photos that are in there, of course, like with the Toho related photos, they're all from PR events. So I still have to be a little careful. It's not like set photos like this. It was like photos that were taken at PR events for the press, for
Right.
use, to advertise the film. So those are the ones that are Toho um, related. So yeah, so that's what the book is, like those. I updated certain things inside some of the articles as well. Because they were out, like it was like we're talking like from 98 to 2015. And a
Yeah.
lot of, I'm gonna say, it's a lot of J horror, because I was there through the J horror stuff. So I've
Yep.
got like I came in at the end of Ring Zero, which is the third Ring film. That's just, when I came in. So it's like I've got Ring Zero stuff, Uzumaki stuff, The Grudge, when it was Ju-on, then going into the American stuff, the American productions, Grudge 1, Grudge 2, then going into like a Machine Girl, Tokyo Gore Police, and it got a little more graphic, so you could really like see that whole period, the development of that, and kind of the
Yeah.
death of the birth and death of J horror. But there's also, the good thing about Fangoria was still, they were very like, Mike Gingold at Fangoria just loved Godzilla. So that's why there was always like, here, like one of my early Fangorias, like doing like this, with,
Yep.
this is really because Mike is a big Godzilla fan. And people back then were like, why isn't Godzilla science fiction? Shouldn't it be in Starlog? But the thing about Starlog was the editor hated Asian films.
Really.
I did one piece for Starlog, which is in this, which is on Returner.
Yeah.
So I have a chat with Yamazaki about Returner in that. But and even the editor wrote to me back then. He's like, I don't want to do this piece, but Sony, who's releasing it in the US, is demanding that I do a piece on Returner. I'm like, damn, what an attitude,
Yeah.
like
Really.
and then I heard like he doesn't like subtitled films. And I'm like, isn't like science fiction is about other worlds, other cultures. It seems so like counterproductive and then Starlog just went to hell. I mean, they were just doing like actor interviews and PR things. It was just, and Fangoria was good. They always stayed true to like production reports,
Yeah.
you know, and Starlog just turned into all these, all these actor interviews, you know. I mean, like, I'm not belittling actors, but I mean, like, as,
No, but I get what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, like the Fangoria thing, what's good, it's like people that like the movies, but they also like to know about how the movies were made. So in a kind of semi-pro, you know,
Right.
aspect, not filmmakers, you know, so it's not technical, but this is what's happening on the set. This is what's going on, that kind of thing. So, yeah. So anyway, so that's kind of, I decided to collect all these pieces, put them all together myself, working with InDesign. And I'm like right at the very end of it, like actually when we're done with this, I'm just doing last moment layout corrections. You know, I make the PDF. This I don't really like the lay. You know, it's just the way the words are fitting. It's only the fault of photos. You know, because the photos, when I have a photo here and text next to it, it kind of like makes it difficult to make it look uniform. Must be
Right.
my ADAH or whatever, you know, but it's just like I gotta have it look like really as perfect as possible, you know. So
Right.
I'm very close. I think this week I'll get it done. Then I'll get it out, you know, just an Amazon Kindle publication and full color. And I might actually do a hardcover version as well.
Oh,
You know, in the
cool.
hardcover, you know, it's kind of interesting. They've got at and I've gotten several like Patrick Alvin's book, which
Hmm.
I have actually right here. Very wonderful book that Patrick wrote,
Great book.
you know, and this is published, you know, printed by the Amazon people. So
Hmm.
I don't know, Amazon, they're taking over. The printing on this is fantastic, you
Yeah.
know, very high quality stuff. I've got other books that by other friends that were printed by Amazon. I'm like, I can't complain. You know, it's not like cheap printing or anything. So that's what I thought this time. Like, hell, I'm just going to do this one, you know, by myself, you know, because it's my writing, you know,
Right.
and even though it was published in Fangoria, I own the rights to my stories. You know, they have what is known in legalese as right of first publish. So when they get my piece, they get right of first publish. And then after that, they have to ask me permission to reprint it,
Right.
which they didn't do for the Arrow video set, which has a bunch of my Gamma pieces, but I won't get into that, you know. But it doesn't have all my Gamma pieces because there was another Starlog Press sister magazine called Sci-Fi Teen that Mike Gingold had come up with, which at the end of the 90s, which was to be like, yes, for science fiction for teenagers. Didn't really take off. It lasted like a year or so, and I did two pieces for them. I did a very nice interview with Fujitani Ayako Fujitani. That was when I was at Toho. I did that piece, on a profile piece on her, which came out really well. And I've got the suit actors of Gamma 3. So
That's great.
Ohashi and Fukuzawa, you know, those two guys. I did a piece that was about the suit acting in the Gamma series, you know, so those guys. And then I have like some Japan Times pieces. I have one on Ayako's film, Shikijitsu, and stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's a lot of stuff, but it's mostly like the Fangoria stuff and stuff that was like online, which is like gone now. You know, that all the online stuff is like gone. So yeah, no, I'm really happy with how it's coming out, and I think it's very easy reading. You know, and it's not really like, you know, you know, sometimes I think people think these things are labors to get through. You know what I mean? Like, and I always wrote my pieces in a kind of, I don't want to say like dumbed down version or anything like that, but in a very um, accessible way, you know,
Right.
and to
Right.
make it so that they're entertainment. You know, it's entertaining to read these pieces and like, okay, I'm going to read, you know, something you know what I mean, like a highbrow writing about, intellectualizing, the fun out of something like that, because it's horror movies, it's kaiju films, the top box check boxes, is it fun? So that's always been my thing, so anyway, well, without further ado, then I'm going to
Hold on.
show the cover of my book. Okay. Here you go. And I printed this out this morning just at the 7-Eleven down. And I printed it on like bigger paper, A3 size. So it's like it's not like one of those giant checks,
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. But it's a little bigger because it'll be it's 7 inches by 10 inches. So a little bigger than like a 6x9 book. I think like this is Patrick's book, right? So my book is slightly bigger than this. I think this is like a little more than like 6x9, and mine's 7x10. So
that's
awesome. I don't know if Patrick's out there, but anyway, so here's my book. There you go.
Love it.
Get out. So it's called Ring of Fear. And this cover was done by a graphic artist in Japan named Ryohei Miyagi, and he's like a big artist here. I love his stuff. He does Blu-ray box set covers and movie posters and stuff like that. And I've known him for a while, and I was really happy to get him in on this. So what it's based on is this is actually Takako Fuji photo that I took on the set of Ju-On 2. So I checked with her. She's like, yeah, you can use my photo. And Shimizu, the director of Ju-On, was, yeah, that's, great. So, I mean, that's, my cat is coming. My cat's all excited. Anyway, so this is the cover of the book, like this. And then the spine is like this, because it's like, my book's like 430 pages. So it's kind of big, I mean, it's not tiny print either, and then the back like this. So I printed it out like that today. So I tried to fold it, but anyway, it says giant monsters, ghost girls, evil videotapes, intrusive spirals, deadly notebooks, and more.
Spirals.
Huh?
I like intrusive spirals. I'm an Uzumaki fan, so I like
Uzumaki intrusive spirals. Oh, and I've got like big Death Note pieces because I was on Death Note 1 and 2, so that's inside there. There's a lot of stuff in there. So anyway, so that's my Ring of Fear book. Hopefully, it'll be on Amazon in like within the next 2 weeks and stuff. If I just get this formatting done, but it's good. Isn't that good? You like that?
No, I love it. Like when you were showing me like the original art for it, I love the perspective of, it's like, we're seeing it through your eyes with the tape recorder and everything. I don't know. It really captures, the essence of your Fangoria pieces, in my opinion,
Thank you.
Because like you were saying, such a huge part of your reporting was a lot of the J-horror stuff. And obviously you had the Godzilla set stuff in there too, but it was really nice because there's not a lot of coverage on J-horror, it's mostly just about, reading into the films and that kind of thing. And it's nice to actually know about the creative that goes into it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm happy with my writing and stuff. And, and it's a little, but there is also like, I know people here are like kaiju centric, but there is actually a lot of Godzilla stuff in here too. So it's like Godzilla 2000, and what I kind of think is, I explain in the introduction too, like talking about the Godzilla films, like when some of the names, the Western names hadn't been decided on, so I've got like Godzilla X Megagiras, written down in the pieces, and we have like little like preview pieces, like, coming, they're shooting right now. So there'll be like, Fangoria would sometimes have this thing called Monster Invasion, where it's just like 1 page, so you'd have like a little preview thing. So I've got like Death Kappa, because I've got pieces on Death Kappa in there, like a preview. And I think like when people read, if you don't have the issue, but you read the Death Kappa piece, you can really see what Haraguchi was trying to do. Whether he was successful or not, you know, but it's really like his thoughts are really expressed well. I've got a interesting interview with Kamiya, Makoto, who did, GMK effects, and he did Biohazard, those CG movies. He did the first CG movie in Japan. We got together one day over at Seijo Gakko and Maya, and did an interview on that. And that was like not a long piece, but I've got actors. I mean, a lot of people, on the thing. But like I said, there's like the Godzilla stuff. So it's like Godzilla 2000, my Satsuma Nakajima interview, Mega Giras, GMK, Mecha Godzilla, Tokyo SOS. And then
Final Wars
I
piece
didn't
too,
do a Final Wars piece.
That's right. That's right.
Because of Toho. They're like, okay, when can I do a piece on that? Okay, we'll get back to you. Sounds good. Oh, press day is coming up. Can I go to press day? Oh, we've decided we don't want the international press, like, yeah, okay, well, we'll get back to you. And then they wrote to me like, and I've already been on the Final War set anyway, just going on my own over there. And I'm like, but I want to go officially because I can't do an interview. I can't just walk up to, even though I didn't know Kitamura, but I can't just walk up to people and say, give me comments, because it's like, what? I mean, I can hang out, but I can't, like, because the PR guys I have to go through PR, to ask questions like that. And then they were just like, oh, we've decided that we do not want to have foreign pieces on this film until we decide. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I was pretty, like, not as enthusiastic about it anyway by that point, it's 2004, stuff like that. So fine. I mean, I'm not like they're wrong and they should have let me on the set, like that. But it was just like, that's just why there's no Final War stuff. It hadn't had anything to do with the movie itself, because that's one of the things I like about Fangoria, was they always like report new stuff, and it isn't about, they are not reviews, it's not like, oh, I like this, I dislike this. It's like, my job as a reporter is to go out there and find out, what's going on, what's going through these people's minds and stuff. What do I see over there, and then report on it in a non-judgmental way. I mean, there are some like judgmental calls about past stuff, like Okawada, the director of some of the Heisei films, Mothra, Destroya, and Godzilla 2000. He talks about his working relationship with Kawakita, which isn't really like the most beautiful relationship ever in the world, but that's as far as you would call like opinion stuff, what I mean? It's like from their mouth, type of stuff. But anyway, no, I mean, this is, so I hopefully I will write about it on Twitter, and I'll write about it on Facebook, and I will make Matt do things, and maybe we'll have a little shindig on Monstrosities when
would
it's
love
actually like printed out. Oh, I was going to mention, like, so I'm doing this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a hardcover version as well. And the reason is, I'm like, at Amazon, they've got two printing styles. One is standard color, and one is like high quality. And the standard color seems good enough for like the softback cover. But when you do hardback, it's like high quality only. So I thought, okay, like, but that's going to make it be like, I mean, I haven't priced this yet. I mean, it's probably going to be around $40, because Amazon, they have to print the thing.
Pretty average. Like, I mean, when I say average, I mean, it's a fair price for that. Right. I mean, we were talking 400 pages.
It's all color, 430 pages, so it's like a buck a page.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, but the I think, like, even like doing a hardcover version, just the one copy price to print it is like $50. So I mean, I haven't really priced that out, but I mean, that might be like $70 or something like that. That's just like, if there's anybody, and they print them out. It isn't like, I mean, they print them out per order. Like when I got Patrick's book, they actually printed it in Japan, you know,
Yeah.
at their like printing press here. I got it like the next day. And, you know, so it isn't like I make these other books that I sell of like Romero stuff here, but I use a printer. I've got to order like 1,000 copies, you know. So Amazon pretty much just prints them on, it's on demand printing, you
Yeah.
know. So it's really like, I mean, the main version is going to be the softback version, and the hardback version is someone who wants, you know, the photos looking a little sweeter, you know, and they got the money. So I mean, it's just an option, you know.
Totally.
And I guess I'll like order a hardcover one for myself as well. You know, I think Jules did that with his book as well. You know,
I
his
think you're right.
you know, he did a hardback version. But I mean, I expect most people who buy the book will go for the softback thing, and that's fine. And you know, I looked into the quality of the printing, and the standard color is fine. You know, it's fine. Like, yeah, Patrick's book has photos in it, but it's all black and white because it's all, you know, really takes place in the 20s and 30s. You know, so it's not really like the world was in black and white back then. They didn't invent color until like the 1940s. You know, then the world became colorful. It's a stupid joke, but anyway.
No,
That's how that's this, and I want to say
awesome,
Yoroshiku onegai shimasu, and I'm very proud of this, and I'm happy that I got a legitimate cover. You know, I got a real graphic guy to, you know, put it all together. So I feel very happy, and I think people will be highly satisfied with, you know, with the book. And I don't think it's like a labor to read or anything like that. I got my black cat's coming into the room. I have 2 cats. Yeah, I think someone. Did anyone have anything to say?
Well, first Brian was asking, what are the cats' names and when do they get a kaiju film to themselves?
Well, we got 2 cats. So we just got them like about half a year ago. Kind of rescued cats. And the black one is named Miramani. I don't know if anyone will recognize that name. You have 5 seconds. Miramani. There she goes. Okay, and Miramani is named after.
I know the answer. I'm waiting to see if there's anybody.
Nobody knows. Okay, there is an episode in Star Trek called, is it the Paradise Syndrome? It's where Kirk goes to this planet and he gets zapped and he loses his memory, and it's like an Indian world, and he marries like the Indian woman there, because he's like, he can't remember his name, but it's like Kurok. So he's like Kurok, and he's like this god that's got the great line. The woman was, Miramani was originally supposed to marry like the medicine man, but she went for Kirk. You know, who doesn't go for Kirk, you know? But then he's like attacking him as the spurned lover, and he cuts his hand, and he's like, "Behold, the god who bleeds." And I just love that line, you know. Yeah, it's like, as Paul wrote, that he becomes, yeah, what?
I don't know.
What is that? Is that in English?
I think he meant Chad.
So, but anyway, so I named my cat. I named the black one after that because she had black hair, and I actually do like that episode, even though it's season 3 episode. And then our other cat, which is a calico, Miyako named her Groovy. And I don't know if people know what Groovy is. And Groovy is from Evil Dead 2. Did you freeze? Or are you just like, oh, there?
No, I nodded.
I thought you were like astonished. No. And I'm like, when she wanted to name it Groovy, because you know the Ash, right? So good. And she's like, Groovy. I'm like, you want to name our cat Groovy? Are you out of your mind? And it's like the greatest name for, like, I'm just always like, every night was like, groove, hey Groove, Groovy, come here, Groovy. Now it's like this cool, it's like a cool name. She always comes up with good names for things. Awesome. So we got Miramani and Groovy, and you know, they're they're a little standoffish because came from a very poor, bad background. I don't want to really get into it, um, so we still can't really touch Groovy, but Miramani we can now touch. So I mean, but actually Groovy this morning for the first time ever like got under the bed sheets. So we are giving both of them a lot of love, a lot of emotional support, trying to turn them into happy cats. I mean, so anyway.
Thank you for the $2, Paul. Norman, any plans to visit the USA?
There's always the desire, but I, no plans right at the moment. I still think COVID's going on, but I mean, Japan's about to stop all their mandate stuff in May, I think.
Oh, really?
And,
Like
it also seems like the new variants are less, I don't want to say deadly, not as like debilitating as from the beginning of this. So, I mean, it's just what life is. So yeah, just gotta kind of move on. I mean, we're still masked up here, even though they said like you don't really need to wear masks outdoors anymore. But but we still, we're still like doing the mask thing here, and I don't like it, but it's no big deal or anything like
better safe than sorry.
The only bad thing is when in May, now when they get new vaccines or whatever, the government, well, for the moment, they said they'll keep paying for it, giving us vaccines for free. But that's probably going to disappear later. So, yeah, I want to get back home, visit, at least go on I'd like to be in your neck of the woods, and I've got family in the San Francisco area, the Bay Area over there, and I'm from New York, and I got good buddies over in Pittsburgh, my whole Romero community people. So I really want to get back over there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to, I would love to visit conventions if anyone ever wants to, even though I'm not Japanese.
You need to be you should be booked. Many people have said this, and I'm not saying this just to kiss your ass, even though it's going to sound like I'm kissing your ass. You should be booked at conventions, and I think that even more so now because of the fact that you got the new one coming out. I mean, there's a whole slew of horror conventions that you could also do. J horror is still a thing. I think it's just a matter of finding the one that fits you, that doesn't involve personalities that are ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Well, I did that remote G-Fest thing.
Oh, yeah, well,
go over pretty well. You were part of that thing, and that was good. And the thing I me too is like, I show photos, and I have like actual set stories, and I'm not like belittling other panels, well-researched panels, but I think my panels are different from, let's say you have Japanese guests. One of the things about Japanese people is they're very guarded about their responses, because Japanese, they don't like to get too into, oh, we all love each other. They try to be like, we're one big happy family. And I don't just talk, dirt on things, but I also like to frame things as they are. Even one of my friends at Toho, he's like, when you write your book, I want you to tell everything, tell what it's really like, and don't sugarcoat your stuff. And I didn't sugarcoat things, but I didn't go out of my way to write garbage, like trash talk, anything like that. But I so that's a difference between me and the Japanese guests. Plus, I don't need a translator.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go through a translator. Also, I think I'm a little better storyteller than a lot of the Japanese guests, because that's not what they do. And that's kind of what I do. And I also have a lot of original photos and stuff like that, and not just kaiju stuff. I mean, I'm talking about, other movies that I've worked on and stuff like that. So I'm always eager, you know, to have someone fly me out there, you know, and you know, I like talking.
Hey,
I like
maybe you'll be going back.
dominating the conversation, as I like to say.
Maybe you'll go back to Saudi Arabia this year.
Oh yeah, our Saudi trip was awesome. You know, we did a show on that. You know, and that was great. You know, meeting lots of new people, really sweet people. You know, seeing different cultures, and but people who, you know, they like the Japanese stuff. You know, they like the anime, the manga, um, Kaiju to a lesser extent, Attack on Titan. You know, when I was like big, and that Tsubasa, the soccer thing, that soccer anime, that's like huge in Saudi. I was like, oh, okay. I don't even know what that is, but yeah, you know. So no, it's like interesting to see that and meet people, and you know, also hear what they're into, and you know what they how they perceive this stuff. Because you know, I live in Japan. I'm about to hit 30 years in Japan. In July, it'll be my 30th anniversary here. So it's kind of
Oh, that's
like, you know, I live here and stuff. And sometimes I need to be reminded how this place looks to people that are into this place, but don't really know this place. Either they've never been here, or they've been here like once or twice. Because it takes a long time to figure out Japan. I mean, even when I think back when I was living here for 10 years, I was still naive, you know, and I'm sure like in another 10 years, I'm mean, like, what was I thinking back in 2023? You know, things. So no, Japan is very rich culture, and you know, and a lot of the stuff that you see in the kaiju movies, you know, there's a lot going on that, you know, that I think a lot of fans don't really realize, and they think, and I say that they think they can realize it just by watching it, but you have to experience certain things about the culture that are outside of it to understand what's going on inside of this thing. Not that, to say you can't enjoy it, or it's like, oh, you know, you don't get it. I'm not saying like, you know, people that don't visit Japan, don't live in Japan, you know, they can still understand this stuff. I even had that, like my first trip to Japan, I was down in Kagoshima talking to this like head of surgery. I was staying at his place, the head of surgery at Kagoshima University, and I was telling him my impressions of Japan, what I knew about Japan. He's like, how do you know this? So I know how to read books, you know.
Yeah.
You're really like almost like you're not supposed to know this, you know. And
Secret
you know,
society.
so I mean, yeah, it is possible to, you know, understand this place, but still, I mean, I put hard time in on this
Oh yeah.
place, you know, and there is, you know, there are things that are, you know, I still have to, even like with Miyako, we have to sometimes say, okay, this is like a cultural difference. You know, we're just going to have to set it aside. You know, there's certain barriers I won't cross over in terms of human relationships, or my relationship with even the online community in Japan, or even the way I see things with the government, you know,
Right.
and the way that people respond to the government. Like, you know, and I'm like, okay, you kind of, this is like how an American would be. And it's, you know, Japan's a free nation, but freedom in a different way than you would experience in the US. And, you know, it takes a long time to really like get through that, to you kind of understand it and kind of accept it, and try to not just condemn it, but sort of
Right.
like, you know, work with it, and then you find your own space inside of that, you know. So
Totally.
I'm getting off on some like weird tangent right now, but anyway, you know, anyway, I'm just saying, yeah, it would be great. It's always good to, um, you know, go. I like the, yeah, the G Fest thing was a lot of fun. I wish we'd had more time, because I still had, like when we were done, it was like, oh, I have this movie clip from the live action that I wasn't able to share.
Yeah.
You know, like that. So
Standing room only, and then got kicked out
then we
because
got kicked out, right?
yeah. Yeah. Most
So
people said that was the best panel at G Fest. I heard a lot of that going around.
yeah,
So
but yeah, like you said, like, I mean, yeah, but I think sometimes people are apprehensive, like, but this guy's an American. We want Japanese people. So I have to deal with this kind of sometimes reverse racism at these places, but whatever. I mean, I'll just keep, and I'll just keep doing my thing over here. So anyway, I don't know. Anyone have any like questions or anything? Because I'm
There's
getting kind of like,
yeah, there's a lot of questions, but I just want to be mindful of your time. I'll go to this one real quick from Laura. Norman, did you see the remaster of the Romero Resident Evil trailer?
remaster, because the remaster.
Probably an upscale version.
Okay, because I have the VHS. There's been this like horrible copy of it online forever, and I re-ripped it recently, and I think I gave it to these guys who are doing a documentary about this, which I'm supposedly going to be involved in. Maybe that's what Laura's talking about, perhaps. It might be up on YouTube now, but it's really still, I mean, there's only SD versions of that, unless Capcom has like actually reissued a higher, they've gone back to the original film, because it was shot on film, and re-transferred it in some way. Otherwise, it would be like that version I did, which was like, an SD 720 version. You would know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Rather than whatever they had, like a 280p version that was just looked like garbage, but
I'd be curious to see what they're talking about. I mean, there's a lot of AI upscaling, kind of just on the consumer front these days. But I'm not really big in the Resident Evil community, so I don't really know anything. Speaking of Romero, Derek actually said he had the very real pleasure of meeting Romero once. Nice and patient fella, smelled like coffee and cigarettes.
He could never kick his cigarette habit. Even like during the Resident Evil TV shoot, he was like doing a yo-yo, and that was like his thing, to like, when I feel like smoking a cigarette, I start flipping my yo-yo down. So, and then that didn't last. So yeah,
Quick question: has the horror genre fallen in popularity in Japan in terms of mainstream audiences?
I don't ever think it was really that big to begin with. It's always been very disrespected in Japan, even at the J horror height of things. And one of the things, like say with the Sushi Typhoon labels, and a lot of that was like because they knew they could sell it to Western markets.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, it does have its fans. I mean, Miyako's a big horror person, and I guess in some ways, like Godzilla's gotten more accepted as like, something to be proud of rather than something to be ashamed of. I mean, 20 years ago, Godzilla, all this stuff in Japan was like people were ashamed of this, like Japan being known for this kind of stuff.
Right.
And now, mostly because of the success of the Legendary films, they're suddenly all proud of it,
Right.
I don't want to get into that, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, but still, I mean, the majority of cinema in Japan is just like garbage. It's like all these like genius movies, a lot of mystery stuff. Everyone's a friggin' genius. I like Death Note, but that's also the same thing, genius versus genius. So and I subtitle movies like that. And sometimes they're good, but they're really like, they're all popular actors, it's all, mainstream stuff. They're very, there's very little social criticism going on, so, in the horror stuff, I mean, it's also like the kaiju stuff. It's really more indie stuff, is if anything's being made, Nakata's made some, and they don't put money into them.
Yeah.
So they really like, we watch, sometimes me and Miyako, we watch Smile, which I really liked a lot. We watched another recent horror film. The name is not coming to me. And it was like, damn, even in Korea, they spend more on their cinema than they do in Japan. Now my cats are like really going at it. They're by my tequila. Stay away from that. They smell everything. They're by my my Reanimator autograph down over there. So they're gone. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, I mean, yeah, it isn't really like 20 years ago, because it was a kind of a movement. Because the Ring was popular here. And yeah, I guess, I mean, there's like Japanese Netflix stuff, but it's still like actor centric,
Right.
so it's really about people watch these things because they like the actor. So that's one of my criticism of Japanese cinema is like everyone's pretty, and even though I'm not really into modern American cinema, but at least Americans will get people that are just like beautiful, they're like handsome people, you know what I mean? But Japan, like you'll see like some real life story drama thing, and they've made it into some real life story, human story, and they turned it into a film, and like the actors are like beautiful. Then you look at the original people from the stories, like, oh man, these people are ugly, and I mean, there's no balance going on,
Right.
I mean, not to say, I mean, I like looking at beautiful people, you know what I mean? But I mean, come on, I mean, America, they'll give you like 7s and 8s in that disgusting, and I apologize, beauty scale that used to be popular when I was younger with movies like 10, and things like that. But you understand what I mean. So that's like kind of criticism I have. Japan is still like actor driven and beautiful actor driven, with idol men and idol women and stuff like that. So, but there are indie people that trying to keep stuff coming out, and there's always talented filmmakers out there, and
Oh yeah,
it does feel different than it did 20 years ago.
definitely.
It's kind of hard question to answer,
Right.
but
Right.
and like you said, you saw Sadako DX, and that there again, I didn't see the film, but it doesn't strike me as a horror movie. It's trying to be like a little scary thing, but more for teenagers, just to be like a little thrilling type of thing, but not really like horror.
Did I know this is kind of random, but it's also something that I hadn't talked to you about. And it doesn't relate to Japanese film, but have you ever seen a movie from like 1997, 1996? It was a Canadian horror movie called Cube.
Yeah, I've seen Cube. Yeah,
Did you see
there's
the
a Japanese remake of Cube.
Did you? I was going to ask you about that. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't. I mean, Miyako loves Cube.
Yeah,
We
Cube's
actually
great.
rewatched the original Cube. I saw that in the theater when it played in Japan. It was good. I didn't watch any of the other ones. She refuses to watch the Japanese one.
It's
Like, I'm not
bad.
even going to watch it.
It's bad, man. It doesn't. It really is bad. I'd be curious to get Miyako's take on it because like he doesn't really
She's
add
like, I
anything.
will never watch it. I will never watch it.
Yeah. It takes away the gore. There's no innovation in it. It's just kind of like a stripped down version, and it has a really weird twist at the end. But what I was getting at was that everything that you were saying really kind of struck me true about that movie. I saw this movie like a month or two back, and but it was very much like that. Just two pretty people, all teenagers. Just was not good.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's,
And
I mean, yeah, the studios, they go for safe stuff here.
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, the Japan's it's the cinema in the business has been in dire straits for 20 years now. I mean, they get hits, but it's mostly anime. The
Yeah.
anime is the big thing, and even for like if you really want imagination, you go to manga.
Yeah.
Because the manga industry, I think, is superior to comics in the U.S. now because it's very much artist, and I mean like writer artist driven. The artists work on their own, and they don't have agents.
Yeah.
It's very different from the U.S. So it's like there's the publisher, the artist, and they make the contracts together. The artist owns the stuff. The artist, there's very little interference from the publishers. Yeah, even like Toho, I can complain about Toho until the sun rises, but like like I said, talking to Takahashi, talking to other people, they're very even the anime trilogy, which I despise. I mean, I do respect Toho for like letting these guys, like Takahashi was going, do you know that Toho's got this list of things you can't do with Godzilla? I'm like, yeah, I know, but I mean, it's really not that oppressive. They're just telling you like Godzilla can't die, can't. And then he was like, after I told him about it, like especially compared to the US, like stuff like the Legendary stuff, where it's like those aren't directors working on those things. It's all committee stuff, and the direct, it's all decided by the the studio people what they're going to have. That's why those films are just boring, because there's nothing. They don't want to offend anybody. They want to make it all family value stuff, but they don't have that, in Japan. Maybe if the budgets were like, $200 million, they might suddenly get that, because we got to get this, that's not cheap. You know what I mean? Like, but still, it's one of the good things about Japan is that I mean, I don't know a lot about Yamazaki's new film, but I would imagine that he's like making the film he wants to make, like even like I said, like Takahashi with Singular Point. I mean, could you imagine a US studio like going that far off of the map, with something like that? Even the Godzilla, the anime trilogy, as much as I do dislike it, I mean, hats off to Toho for allowing them to go for it, and that's just kind of how it is here, and there's a lot of loyalty from the audience base towards the creators themselves. So I think the US has really lost that. I mean, you talk about these Marvel directors, or you talk about, these other people, they're not like how it used to be, like say in American cinema, in the 70s, like a movie like The Exorcist, movies like that. I mean, the directors really came in, and they were like, there's a piece I have in my book that I did an interview with Obayashi, who did the House movie. And he said, the president of Toho said, just make the craziest, insane movie that you can, just do whatever you want to do. Just go for it, and that movie is insane, but I mean, not everybody likes the movie, but I think it's a very wonderful film, so I mean, that's a good point about Japan, that there isn't as much that studio interference and manipulation that's gotten worse in Hollywood.
That's true.
It's very true. I mean, maybe you get a guy like Nolan, or even a guy like Cameron, but you look at like this Avatar water film. Sorry, I'm going on a rant here, Norman rant time, but like seeing the Avatar movie, and I didn't dislike the movie, but I'm like, what is this, written by a 5th grader? I mean, the story, there is no story going on. I mean, really, I mean, it's just like kids bickering in a very American way.
Oh, yeah.
I think I even wrote that on Twitter. It's like, I've worked with Japanese kids. They're different from American kids because the culture is different. I mean, they're humans, so they all, love their moms and dads, and they got to eat food, and you know what I mean? And they get sick and stuff like that. But there's still differences in the way they relate with each other. Like Japanese kids do not do that kind of incessant teasing that we do in the US.
Right.
And when I watched the Avatar film, it was like they're all like putting each other down all the time, like Americans do. And something that when I came here, I found very refreshing. Like when I worked with kids, like the kids are really supportive of each other. Like I worked in a class, and we had like kind of like a almost Down syndrome, if you can still say that word, I don't know, child. And man, all the kids helped him all the time. I mean, man, when I was in school, I don't know what it's like today, but I mean, they would have been like, we would have been teasing this kid. And I'm not proud of that about the US, but that's why when I saw the Avatar film, I was like, this is just American kids. This isn't science fiction.
No, but that's the only, I mean, not to keep on adding to a tangent, but that's all American filmmakers, right? Everything they all speak contemporary. That's what they do with Star Trek. like all the new stuff that comes out. Everybody talks like they're from the year 2020 or the year 2023 or whatever year said piece of media comes out. There's just no difference. They all talk the same. They use the same mannerisms. It's not taking place in another world or another culture, or another anything. It's just American life and American social norms as depicted in cinema, just placed in different arenas. And it's boring and it's old. And but people still watch the shit and they gobble it up and they think
Yeah,
it's
no,
fantastic.
I sad to say, I stopped watching Star Trek, and it wasn't like I don't have any problem with diversity or anything like that. I mean, I like being challenged by things, but I don't feel like I'm challenged by this kind of diversity, that it isn't really like,
Yeah.
it isn't making me, it isn't making me challenge problems that are in the US, if you know what I mean. Like I felt like in the watching the original Star Treks back in the 60s that it really brought things to life. Or even watching like 2001, which I saw in the cinema in 68. I mean, that was really like, I mean, I was 9 at the time, and that was really like, what is humanity and what is going on here? Seeing Planet of the Apes in 68 too was like, man, Planet of the Apes was like this bony finger saying everyone in the audience is responsible for the annihilation of the human race and being replaced by the apes. And then you see the new remake, and it's like, well, there was just some guy who his dad had Alzheimer's, and he had a good motive to save his dad, and he made this thing that when it was tested on monkeys made him smart, and they took over. You know what I mean? So everyone is like off the hook. Nobody in the audience had to feel any sort of personal introspective about, well, sure, it's just science fiction and it's not true, but still it makes you feel, that makes you challenge yourself and like, do I have a responsibility? Do I need to change things? That's what I mean. Like, I love seeing, women in empowered roles, or minorities in empowered roles and stuff. But I also want to see, like, when I would see it in Star Trek, that you would be like, they would make you challenge this belief system that society has put inside of you. And then you would look into yourself and say, oh, I'm wrong. I have to update myself. And I'm not getting that from cinema today. I'm not getting that from TV shows today because they don't want to challenge people, So sorry, we're off on this weird tangent.
No, it's not really.
I don't want to get really into it, but I feel very passionately about it, and that was one of the things I really liked about cinema in the 60s and the 70s. That a lot of the stuff was really, we watched Death Wish the other day.
Yeah.
And even in a way, Miyako was like, what the hell is this? I mean, we liked the movie, but it's kind of like, like taking the law into your own hands. And she was like, all like, yeah, more people should do that. I'm like, no, this is vigilantism. But the point is, we had a conversation about it. You know what I mean? Like whether this is actually people taking the law into their own hands is something that's like legitimate. I didn't watch the remake of it, but I really no interest in seeing the remake. But I thought that the first one isn't a great film, but she was very upset by the ending, when he just goes like, he moves over to Chicago and he looks at the camera and he's just like there's some like kids like harassing some woman or something. It's like, it's a ridiculous movie, but I mean, it's 70s. I mean, that was what's going on back in the 70s. It was really, people were really, Hollywood and the studios were like, go for it, to the filmmakers. So it was like how I was saying, kind of like, I mean, like I was, on the one hand, I was saying there are all these innocuous, ridiculous, idol movies coming out of Japan, because Japan, the studios are still relying on this kind of naive audience thing and the little pretty things. But, there are, I did say, like with the Godzilla stuff, or even some of the, like the Ring movies and things like that, Ju-on and stuff like that. I have to actually also say that it's like in my book too, like hats off to Sam Raimi too, when he made The Grudge. Like that's in my book too, like, talking to Shimizu back then, when they were talking about doing the remake, Shimizu was like, oh, they're just going to do what they did with The Ring. They're going to take the story, they're going to port it over, to the Americans. They're going to get American directed. But Sam Raimi was the guy. No, I want this to be the guy who made it. I want to make a movie with this guy. I want to give him the resources. We're going to port this over, but we're not going to abandon its roots in any way. Even that was like Takako Fuji, who's on the cover of my book. She was completely expecting to be replaced by an American actress, and they were like, no, we're keeping her on. We're keeping Toshio, the little boy, we're keeping him on. So it was really like, I don't know if we're going to see that again, but I like when studio people do stuff like that. So of course it isn't like all garbage or anything like that, but that's the big challenge,
right?
I think, for filmmakers, is not to sell out, to these high budgeted movies, because the high budgeted movies, that's why I'm sorry, I don't support the legendary films, because the budgets are too big. They've got to recoup that investment. So they've got to make films that appeal to non-genre fans. So the films are really not kaiju movies. They're all family challenge movies, and that's why even in Japan now, it's destroyed. The American films have destroyed the kaiju market in Japan because they can't make suits anymore.
Yeah.
Shin Godzilla also was part of the destruction of the tokusatsu industry by going full CG. Shin Ultraman, to a lesser extent.
Shin Ultraman, the movie that they decided to use CGI in order to reach a broader audience, but yet made all of their freaking monsters look like rubber suits, or at least try to, purposely. Makes no sense to me.
Well, so anyway, but you do have like the what's the Hammer of the Gods, the one I was saying Sato is doing right now. So you do have a lot of indie kaiju people going on, making, a lot of the kaiju films that are using suits and miniature buildings like that are very low budget indie films, which I support. I wish they could have better miniature art direction stuff going, but that's like labor intensive, and it takes a lot of money to do stuff like that, but they're doing the best that they can with the stuff like that. Like in Murase, has been building this like multi-headed dragon thing. Is just beautiful. It's just really like, you've seen photos of that thing, like, wow.
Seen some footage
it's
too.
Good, so it's like, it's really, that end of is being kept up by the independent people. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that one later this year. Yeah. Sorry, anyway, we're just going off, and I'm talking out of my butt right here.
I'll send you a link, but it sounds like that going back a couple questions ago about the Resident Evil upgrade thing, looks like it might be from the documentary you were talking about. So Laura sent me a link that I'll forward to you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Because yeah, I'm going to be involved with this documentary that people are making on this. I have a lot of photos from that set, and that was really my first film set. It's like weird. Like George Romero is like my favorite human being, my favorite filmmaker, and the very first interview I ever did in this business was with George Romero, and I was sort of like, where do I go from here? I started at the top of my interview wish list, so anyway, so no, I owe a lot to that set, because that's how I met Anthony Ferranti, who went on to do the Sharknado movies, and Anthony is the one that put me in touch with Fangoria, and Fangoria is the one that, got me on the Godzilla set, and then the Godzilla set was, and meeting Kaneko, it was all started from my love of George Romero cinema, and Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that. So yeah, there you go.
I just wanted to, this question just real quick from JC. He was asking me what the poster was behind me. He's talking about that one. It's a Yuji Kaida thing that came with some book. I found it like online. They're kind of hard to find, so good luck trying to find that. But Yuji Kaida is going to be who you want to look for. So, anyways, Norman, do you want to go ahead and wrap this up? We're already hitting 3 hours.
Okay, I got to do work today too. It's Sunday afternoon here, so, and I think I need more coffee. So yeah. Anyway, no, I haven't been on in a while, and you know me, I talk a lot and stuff. And
well, we all love hearing you talk, so thank you for coming on here.
Oh, I have to show you this. I don't know if you know Peach Momoko. She's a big artist. So at the Tokyo Comic Con, like she gave me the most awesome present in the world, because she had this. We went out for dinner, and so she has this thing. Like, oh my god, I haven't seen this since I was a kid. Da, 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 da. I'm like, and then she comes running up at Tokyo Comic Con. I have something for you. I'm like, oh my god, and it's like you know, it's I haven't seen these since the 60s, but it's a portable pill case, and you make a cup out of it. So you put your pills in this thing right over here. I keep this on my desk right now. So like when I was a kid, I was so fascinated by how these rings, you know, when you're kids and you just like look at stuff and you try to figure out how it works. But this is my boring way to end our show. So anyway,
I like this. This is Doomzilla right here.
My desk right here. I've got my awesome 60s pill cup. Okay, forget about it. I did want to do my show and tell in the beginning, and I've been putting these on Twitter, and I wanted to show these are, and then we're going to go. I have these like clear files this is from the original from Mothra, you know, the rebirth of Mothra, when it wasn't titled Rebirth of Mothra. So you buy a ticket and you get these, and I scanned these recently and put these, not the chirashi, because when you would buy a ticket, you know, you'd get this, and they came with the chirashi on the inside. So what is this? December 14th. So I have this one. Well, actually, I have two of them. I went with a friend, and they're like, I don't want it. So I'll melt that one later. Then I've got one on. I put these up on Twitter the other day, but I wanted to show the real thing. That's really Mothra cool. 2, and the clear file is better than the movie. You're supposed to laugh at that. Then I've got one for Space Godzilla that I got back then. Is that kind of cool though?
It's really cool.
And then I have my Destroyer one. And they were really hard to scan. I had to put like white paper inside, otherwise through and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I put those up. And then this is the thing, I just found this, because we'll go through this on maybe a future show, but I've got like, you know, all these like very rare and cool,
really cool
things from back then.
Jeez.
You know, so yeah. Here, I like this one. This was for, I guess, Destroyers. Like Godzilla doesn't say die, but Godzilla ends in 24 more days. So
that's badass.
And then here, my 1996 Kanaka Godzilla calendar right here. So we'll have to go through those one of these days. But this is the thing. I don't know why I bought this, but I got this in 96 on the first Mothra film. But it's like I never opened it up, but it's a necklace, a Mothra necklace. That was like a theater thing.
That's funny.
So anyway, maybe we can. No,
I always like you going through your stuff. You know, seeing
1,500 yen. 1,500. That's like the price of the ticket. You know, 1,500 yen. And what is on this? I've never even really looked at it. It's all that weird symbol stuff. You know, not real language stuff with that.
Right.
Mothra wavy, you know, if you can sort of see, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, like that. So anyway, I don't know why I bought this, but you know, you know what it's like. You go to the theater and like you're all high on Kaiju, and you're like, look at the goods. That's
what I do with the Sadako DX thing. I bought a ton of Sadako DX stuff. The movie was horrible, but the merch is great.
Yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to when you got the cash, you know.
Yes.
So anyway,
Yes. Real quick, I know we got to wrap this up, but Riley Robertson, a $2
well,
sticker.
thank you very much.
And we're just going to do rapid fire. He had one question for you. Have you ever heard of the Lost Spider Pit sequence from the original King Kong?
Yes, I have. Everybody has.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately lost. And my name doesn't have a D on the end, but I know you're typing very quickly. So, but no, I mean, yeah, the Lost Spider Pit sequence. Yes, it's one of the great missing footages of all time in space, and everybody would love to see it. And you know, what's his name who did Lord of the Rings?
Jackson.
Yeah, Peter Jackson. He did that recreation of it. You know, that's on, I think, like the King Kong DVD Blu-ray, like that, which I've seen, and I don't know. I don't think it came out that great, but I support the enthusiasm. I support the love of it, you know. So yeah, King Kong. The King Kong's an awesome film. I saw it once. Actually, it's kind of an interesting little thing. It was 1975, and me and my mom and my brother and another friend of ours, we went into Manhattan because I lived right outside of Manhattan in Rockland County, and we went to Manhattan. We watched King Kong in a theater, and then when that was done, we went over to Sesame Street set, and I met Jim Henson.
Wow!
And I watched him do. Did he do? Yeah, I watched him do Oscar in a thing, and we went over to, because our friend was a Muppet maker, and this is before the Muppet Show, and they were gearing up to do a Muppet musical. So we went over to where they made the Muppets, and they had like things, or we were doing a musical thing, but it turned into the TV show, turned into the Muppet TV show. Cool. But she was like, and everybody is like, in all the Muppets are in like, you know, they really handle them well. They're all in plastic bags, you know, they're all like this. And she's like, don't touch them because they're very sensitive to dirt. So when she would look around, it's like, I just touched the Count. I just touched Roosevelt Franklin. Like we were doing, like, you know, like when she wasn't like, I just touched Bert. You know? And it was cool. Like we're over, you know, so I was on the Sesame Street set, and they had like the Snuffleupagus. It was sort of like reminding me of like when I would go to Toho, but they had like raised up like in the ceiling, you know, and they would lower that huge thing down.
Oh, wow.
You know, and then when here's a funny story. When it was done, so she calls over Jim Henson. She's like, "Oh, these are, you know, friends. You just want to say hi." He's like, "Oh, nice to meet you guys." And he's like, "Yeah, you know, I'll give you my autograph." You know, so, I might have told you this story before, but anyway, so he's got this postcard with his picture on it, and he's surrounded by Muppets, right?
Yeah.
Jim Henson. He's like, so he signs the thing to Norman, and I've lost it, unfortunately, you know. I'm like 15 at the time, 14, 15. But anyway, so he signs to Norman. Here you go. And I'm looking at it. It's like, oh, wow, cool. This is really cool. Oh, check it out. Someone's hand is on the shoulder of one of these Muppets. There's like this human hand like this. And he's like, what? Show me that. And he looks at this thing and he goes, Jim Henson. He just goes, nobody noticed that. Printed up 10,000 of these.
Oh my God.
Nobody know. And I'm like, sorry, man. You know, like, this is a freaking kid, you know, he just notices. But I got a good eye. You know, I've always had a good eye for detail and things like that. But it was really like he's there smiling with Muppets around him. You can find the photo online, and there's just someone's hand is just like,
that's great,
like on the shoulder of a thing accidentally, you know, and no one noticed it. Like today, you Photoshop that right out, you know, but back then, but it was just this look of like, you kid.
Oh yeah, know, I can only imagine.
Sorry, man, but anyway, but it was good. And that was, I just wanted to say that was like, I think the only time I ever saw actually King Kong in the theater. You know, we went to a screening somewhere. Man, you know, my mom drove us over there. I had a very good day. King Kong, Sesame Street, Jim Henson.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. We gotta play 7 Degrees of Norman England at some point. You know, right. Ridiculous. Well, I think we should probably wrap this up. Again, thank you so much for coming. It was a lot of fun reminiscing and hearing the stories. We'll have to get you back on here when the book comes out, or when Miyako's book comes out, whatever comes out first. We'd love
Yeah,
to.
maybe we do them together. I'm expecting to get a copy of it pretty soon. So
Fantastic.
yeah.
Is there anything you want to plug real quick?
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, everybody go buy Behind the Kaiju Curtain, available now on Amazon and other outlets. The best kaiju book that you are going to be able to find here in the West. And Norman, again, thank you so much.
And when you get this one, you can have like 2 of them, one for each hand, and you can like kill 2 cockroaches at the same time.
You could. You very much could.
Anyway, with that stupid joke done. So, okay.
All right.
Thank everybody. Thanks for everyone who came out. So thank you very much for listening to us go on, or listening to me go on and on and on and on. So thank you very much.
It's always an honor and a pleasure. And we'll be sure to have you back here. Everybody at home, thank you for the donations. Thank you for your time. And I am sure we will see you soon. Take care, guys.